Okay, I think it's better now. Really sorry about that. Of course, I have to have the wrong camera or wrong microphone set up, but we should be good now. So, as I was saying, I'm really excited for this. I have a good time with every single live stream that I do, but this one in particular I'm excited for because I think no matter what you guys have me build, this is an audience-driven AI coding challenge. I think it's going to be a really good time, and hopefully I'll be able to show my usual AI coding workflow so you can learn a lot throughout. But also, there's just like that mystery factor, surprise factor of like, what do I actually have to build? I can't prep anything for this besides my base template for my agentic coding workflow. And so, yeah, this is going to be interesting. So the plan right now is I need you guys to actually vote on what I build. And so I have an application created for that that I'll show in a little bit. But I want to wait just like 5 to 10 minutes before I do that because usually it takes a bit for a good chunk of people to come into the stream. And so I'll just have a good time, chat with you guys for a little bit. We'll get into the voting, and then we'll get into the live build. And so I have no idea how long I'm going to have this stream go on for, but it's going to be until I build something great. Like, I'm not just going to like end on some half-assed thing. I'm going to really spend time on whatever you guys have me build. So let me go over to the chat here. And actually, I'll switch the scene as well. There we go. Okay, so hopefully my audio is still working. Looks like it is. Good. So I'm switching between scenes and OBS. That's why it was, that's why my microphone wasn't working at first. So there we go. All right, so what you guys are looking at right here, this is the application that I'll send you all a link to in a little bit for you guys to vote on what I build. And so I actually used the Anthropic harness for long-running agents to build this in one shot. I don't think it's a perfect application, but it's definitely good enough for what we need right now for this stream. And then if anything does go wrong for whatever reason, then I can just rely on the chat for the most part to like get an idea of what people want me to build. But the goal with this application, I'll explain it more once it's time for everyone to vote, but you can submit your idea and then also vote on other people's ideas in the word cloud. So the word cloud forms, it starts to pick the words and phrases that are the most popular. And then you can like click on them and vote for them. And so whatever kind of bubbles up to the top of the word cloud is what I'm going to build. And so I get a little bit of creative freedom myself, probably because like whatever makes it to the top of the word cloud isn't going to be like the full idea, more just a phrase. But it still very much is you guys driving what I create, the kind of topic that I focus on for the application in this stream. So pretty excited for that. So yeah, I'll wait a little bit for people to join. We got 50 currently, which is pretty good. I haven't done much like advertising or talking about this live stream too much. So I don't expect there to be like an insane amount of people, but I still think we'll have a good chunk. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and answer some questions, chat with you guys a little bit, and then we'll get into this. And so, yeah, let me go over to the chat here. So I got my chat on my left monitor, and then I have my OBS on my right monitor. And then obviously what I'm presenting to you guys on the center monitor here. All right, coming in from Zimbabwe, very cool. Yeah, where are you guys from? I always start my streams with that. I can't forget, start my streams with that. Perth, Australia, very, very cool. Build an AI replacement for Rasmus. Sean, if you want to submit that idea, you can definitely feel free to do so. Maybe everyone in Dynamous will vote it up to the top of the word cloud. But I don't think I can do that. I don't think that I could ever make an application to replace Rasmus. Hey Dylan, what's up? We got England, very cool. California, Munich, sweet. Receipt suggestions given fridge contents. Okay, that's a cool idea. Yeah, you guys can share some in the chat if you want right now, but definitely like save your ideas, or at least also put your ideas in the word cloud here once I give the link. So I'm purposely in the full screen mode right now so you can't see the URL, because I will send the URL in the chat for you guys to come in and send in your ideas and vote. And you don't have to log in or anything. I'm just keeping this like really simple and informal, so you don't have to log in. You can like submit multiple ideas if you want, but I do ask you to be respectful and like don't just spam, because I want to make this easy, but obviously that comes at the risk of like you can submit multiple things. So we'll get into that in a second here. Might follow along with Quen 80B A3B. Okay, very cool. That yeah, are you using open code or how are you going to be coding? I'm actually curious. That's cool though. Anthropic Harness versus Ralph Wiggum. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how I'd build an application to test that. That might be more of like a separate piece of content I could do for my channel. I would say that like right now I feel like the Anthropic harness is better. It's definitely like more of an evolved harness. Ralph Wiggum, well, actually, to be honest, Ralph Wiggum is more of a philosophy versus like a specific framework. The Anthropic plugin for Ralph Wiggum is not really the true Ralph Wiggum. They don't do things right, and that's something I wish I had hit on more in my video that I put on Wednesday on Ralph Wiggum, because I focus so much on the plugin, but the plugin kind of misses a lot of the like ideas behind the philosophy, right? Like they don't even reset the context window between different loops of Ralph, which you're definitely supposed to do that. So anyway, we could talk about that more later on. Where's the link for the voting app? So I will send the link for the app in a little bit here. I'm just waiting for people to come in. And so I'm just chatting with you guys a little bit before, because I usually when you like just start a stream, there's a lot less people watching. Like when I just started the stream, there was only 15 people, and now there's 73. So I'm just giving it like 10 minutes before I send the link for everyone to start voting, because I want to like do it pretty quickly and have everyone here. And then I'll reset. So what you guys are looking at right here is just the AI validation that I did. So I was using the Playwright skill, Claude skill, to validate all of this. Oh, actually, that's not true. I was using the agent harness. So I was using the Puppeteer MCP server. So I was going in here and like adding all these things. And so this is just from all the testing I was doing to make sure this is good for the stream. So I'll wipe this and then have everyone come in and vote in a little bit here. You're hyped. Thanks for hosting this. You're very welcome. Building a Rust-based Postgres extension for agent memory for my hackathon submission. Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, actually, maybe I can take a sec and talk about the hackathon really quick. And then, let's see, it's been, yeah, so I've done the stream for 8 minutes already, so I think we'll get into the voting pretty soon here. So, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my full frame, so you guys can't see me show the URL. And then I'll go back in and switch it. Okay, very good. So I can't show the URL for voting yet. But I'll just talk about the hackathon really quickly, because I do also have an important announcement for the hackathon. I'll have to share this in the community where we're hosting the hackathon as well. But my plan is to extend the submission period by 1 week. So that's the big announcement for the hackathon that I'm doing here, is you'll have an extra week to compete. And so let me look at my calendar here. So I have the exact date. I'll make an official announcement. If you're already in the hackathon, or if you join today, then you will see this later in the afternoon. But the official cutoff is going to be, I'm going to do a week later. So I will do Friday the 30th is the latest you can submit for the hackathon. So pushing it out a week. There were some issues with Kiro getting the codes to everyone for the free Kiro credits, right? Because we don't want you to have to pay to participate in the hackathon. You don't have to have a Pro Kiro subscription. That would not be fair. So we've been giving credits, but having some issues with that, and so we're going to extend the deadline by a week, so January 30th. But yeah, the hackathon is a blast. If you haven't come and competed in it yet, I would highly encourage you to do so. There's still definitely time for you to get a full submission in. Because we started on January 5th, and so a lot of people have had a lot of time building already, but you still could definitely get something in by the new deadline of the 30th. And then we'll have the judging period after announcing the winners in a live stream that I'll also have to move up to probably February 14th, I think I'll do, for the winner announcement live stream. That's going to be a blast as well. But yeah, it's a $17,000 prize pool, and literally all you have to do is just build using Kiro, either with the CLI or the IDE. But as far as what you build, it's entirely open-ended. You can build web apps, agents, CLI tools, APIs, microservices, mobile apps, entirely up to you. And so, yeah, it's fun. Like, you're not really limited besides the actual tool that you use, but Kiro is a fantastic coding assistant. And all the strategies that you use for your current agentic coding workflows, if you have those, are certainly going to work for Kiro as well. And you're going to be judged on your application quality, but also how you use your AI coding assistant. Like, we'll judge the output, but then also your process. And so as a part of your submission, you'll actually document your process for building as well. And so, yeah, if you want more details, definitely go to this page. I'll actually type it in the chat really quick. So give me a second to type that out, because I can't exit full screen mode to copy and paste it. Otherwise, you guys will see the URL for the other site. Well, I guess you wouldn't, but anyway, this works. So there we go. I just put the link in for the Kiro Hackathon. Come to this page. You can register here. Free to compete entirely. And then also I have a video if you want the full guide on how to participate, because there's also a Quickstart template that I built to make it super easy for you to begin your project using Kiro and building for the hackathon. And then I did the kickoff live stream that you can watch as well. Similar format to what we're doing right here, but focused on the hackathon for the whole thing. Like I actually build something live with Kiro, showing you the process of using the Kiro CLI to build for the hackathon. And for this live stream right now, when I build something live with you guys, I will also be using Kiro just in celebration of the hackathon. This is sort of a hackathon themed live stream that I'm doing right now with you guys. So I'm excited for that. So, all right, we are 12 minutes past the start. We got 77 people in the stream right now. I think that's a pretty good number to get to the voting here. So I'm going to exit the full screen mode, go over to the URL. I'll copy this and paste it in the chat. Well, actually, hold on. Before I do that, I need to clear the database because I don't want all of the testing stuff to be in there. So let me do that quick. So don't go here yet. Don't cast your idea or your votes yet, or I'm going to wipe it. So I need to do that on the other monitor here. I wanted to wait until the stream to wipe this because I wanted to like show you guys what it looks like once there's actually a lot of votes. So let me delete these. And then I'll go and delete the votes as well. It'll just take like a couple seconds. I'm just doing this in Supabase off camera. I probably could have made a script to make this faster, but it's already done. There we go. Okay, so if I refresh now. There we go. All right, so it's wiped entirely. All right, there. So now I will paste in the link. And so you can come to this link. You don't have to sign up or anything, and you can submit your idea. So anything that you can possibly think of. If it's absolutely ridiculous, it probably means it won't get voted for and I wouldn't build it. So build something that you think is practical, useful, interesting. And then once you submit your idea and other people are submitting their ideas, then you can start voting on them as well. So we'll start to see a word cloud form of the most common words and phrases in the ideas, and that should give me a general sense of what people want me to build the most. Let's see. Someone asked, what is this exactly? Well, yeah, I'll chat about that a little bit just while we are waiting for everyone to start casting their votes. So as far as what I'm doing here, we got one thing for a CLI already. 2 phrases for a CLI. Cool. Anyway, what we're doing right now is a live AI coding challenge where you guys as the audience get to pick what I create. And so I'll give some time for voting right now, and then I will build whatever comes to the top of the word cloud here. And so we got a couple of things: voice, agent, assistant, CLI. Your full idea doesn't go to the word cloud because obviously at that point then like everyone has their own idea, so it'd just be a bunch of like single things, right? So it's trying to pick out like common phrases. But then I can also look in the database on my other monitor here, and I can see like your full idea in the submission. So I'll read through a couple of these. Someone said a self-improving personal AI assistant that builds its own skills and agents as you build other apps. That's super cool. Another person said a health coach assistant that guides the participants to plan their training. That's also really cool. You know, I'm big into fitness myself, do a lot of like CrossFit and weightlifting, so that'd be fun. So I think what's going to happen here is we'll have some things bubble up to the top, and then I'll kind of like look at the full submissions as it relates to the phrases that bubble up all the way to the top, and then I'll just pick someone's idea based on that and maybe tweak it a little bit for what I think would be reasonable to build live in a stream. And so, by the way, if you feel like, because like assistants bubbling up to the top, and like obviously that's pretty generic, so if you feel like a part of your idea isn't making it up to the top, you can like submit another idea that's like more specific to what you want to build and not including like the keyword that's already at the top. So maybe this isn't like super optimized because the generic words are going to make their way to the top, but it's kind of the best I can do. And so that's why I kind of have to base it off the word cloud, but then also like the ideas that I see in the submissions here in the database. So I'm just reading that off camera. But there's a lot of really cool ones already. So we have 28 ideas submitted, which we also have 89 people in the live stream right now. So yeah, make sure that you guys cast your vote. Because I want to get like everyone to cast, well, submit an idea and cast a couple of votes here. Yeah, I mean, it takes like 2 seconds. So if everyone could, that'd be super cool. So what else do we got here? Would like to build a stock research and strategy builder for country specific. Okay, interesting. That'd be kind of difficult. It'd be cool though. An investment analyst, one that can give rules and investment portfolio, fetches things from the internet. Okay. Another health coach, flashcard generation, recipe suggestions from fridge content. Stretch goal, recognize the fridge contents. That'd be cool. That'd be really difficult to like test live with you guys on the stream because I don't have a way to like go down to my fridge. But that's kind of getting up there in the ideas already. Okay. Personal assistant with multilingual voice for browser and PC. Self-growing task manager. Create a golden dataset eval verification testing solution. That's a good idea too. Let's see, is evals there on the word cloud at all? Okay, it's not yet, but investment is trading. So a couple of the idea like fridge is making its way up. Fridge contents. Okay, how many ideas do we have now? So I'm going to refresh the database again. We have 33 submissions. All right, so I'm going to have to give it some time because I need more submissions for you guys. I mean, 33 is like a decent number, but I need a lot more. So make sure you submit the idea. I'll give some time for that. And then if you can go into the word cloud and vote on the ideas that you want to keep raising up to the top of the cloud, definitely do that too. Let's see, a tool to delegate tasks to different cloud agents like Jules, Codex Cloud, Claude Code on the web, Copilot maybe. Okay, cool. Create a teaching agent on the skills I need to learn to build things that I want to make. Interesting. Little bit of a generic, but I like the idea. Homebrew DIY IDE. VS Code and design your own windsurf cursor or tray. Okay, that's a cool idea. That would be challenging. I'm down to do something difficult. I hope it works out well for the stream, but I would be down to do something pretty hard. Full website, online shop with offline version, login, logout, score, and admin dashboards. Cool. Yeah, some kind of like placeholder template for building a e-commerce store or something maybe. Build a hands-free agentic voice agent. A biometric device integration for health data point optimization as a speech agent. I don't know if I'd be able to make a biometric device right now though. All right, 37 ideas. A CLI that randomly selects which coding CLI you should use for the task. Nice. That'd be cool too. Real-time voice assistant to chat/talk with documents. Cognitive assistant, an invisible second brain for busy executives. Okay, that's an interesting idea. Proactively anticipate needs, contextualizes information before meetings, provides subtle real-time memory jogging. Okay, that's cool too. Okay. So the word cloud is working pretty well. This is pretty cool. The only gripe I have is that, I mean, I should have expected this, but all the generic words are coming to the top. However, the one thing that is standing out the most is that a voice agent is definitely coming to the top. We have voice and CLI that are, well, actually CLI is more than voice, which is interesting. I don't know if I would do a CLI and voice. I'd have to think if I could combine those somehow. Maybe I could. But anyway, I'll give some more time for votes here. I'm trying to think like how I could combine some ideas. If you guys want to share some ideas in the chat for how I can maybe combine a couple of things, like, I mean, everything at the top here is an agent that is an assistant, something with a CLI, something with voice. Maybe I could combine these together. I mean, obviously, whatever I choose, if I'm building like a CLI tool or a voice agent, it would incorporate both of these. Okay, voice has surpassed CLI now for mentions in the submissions. Okay, yeah, so keep voting, guys. This is looking good. I think that the idea presented to me is not going to be super specific, so I'll have some creative freedom here around like what kind of voice agent I build or CLI tool I build. But you guys are still dictating the kind of application for sure. The Colmadine loop. Yeah, that's what we're doing here. Why don't you build an Obsidian clone? I definitely could. I mean, I don't think like what based on what's making its way to the top right now. I don't think it could be Obsidian unless I built like a voice dictation tool as a CLI for Obsidian. I could do something like that. I mean, if you guys like the idea of doing something with Obsidian, you could like submit that idea, and then maybe that'll kind of bubble up to the top. But yeah, just keep submitting what you want me to build the most. With a task manager, you could decide easier. If I built a task manager, I mean that'd be an easier solution for sure. There's already MCP servers for most of these. Right, well that's the problem with any kind of software is there's generally some kind of solution for a lot of what we could build, but that'll be part of the challenge, right? To make something unique. Maybe getting ideas from you guys as well for like what another tool or an MCP server doesn't already solve for whatever we would build here. Where's the submission? Yeah. So, okay, let me put this in the chat another time here. So, boom, there we go. There's the link to vote, like submit your idea and then vote in the word cloud. All right. And I guess I should say that assistant being at the top, like agent and assistant, that is kind of important because, I mean, there's a million different ideas for things I could build that aren't actually agentic driven, right? Like just a classic web application, like the habit tracker that I've been building as a demo for my channel recently. So yeah, I mean, like clearly you guys are telling me like you want me to use my AI coding assistant to build an AI agent, some kind of CLI or voice driven agent is what I'm picking up right now. So we got 86 votes, 67 submissions now. That's pretty cool. But I'll leave this going for a good, like, another 10 minutes at least, because I want to give you guys time. I see that Obsidian has made it onto the word cloud now. 2 mentions so far. So not a lot. What else do we have here? Real time, investment, research, personal, builder, trading, health data. That's super cool. This is working pretty well, besides it being a little too generic. Fridge contents has made it. It's 3 mentions and 4 votes. Okay, there's a problem though. There's actually a big problem. If you guys voted for fridge content, my fridge is actually empty where I'm at right now. That's a little bit of a story. I don't know if I want to get into that right now, but yeah, my fridge and freezer are both completely empty. So I would not be able to like actually take an image of a fridge unless I like search. If I just like search that inside of fridge with food, I could like just do this and send in images. That actually might work better if I do go with that. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. I don't know if that's going to win. Because actually, yeah, Obsidian has made its way up onto the top here. Okay, so if you guys really want me to do Obsidian, then it has to, I would say I would need it to at least get past, well, the voice, oh, someone's spamming now. Uh-oh. Voice. Yeah, someone did a ton of submissions, which, I mean, I don't require logins, so I know that can happen. But that's a little unfortunate, because I'll have to figure out, if you want Obsidian to, like, me to actually do something with Obsidian, I would say it should have to get at least above CLI, and it'll have to get above, well, I guess I can't get above voice anymore. Oh boy. All right. Walk and talk to your Obsidian. That would be pretty cool. I might actually, the problem is, I mean, no, I could do that. That actually might be interesting. That might be what I do. Because that would fit with everything here. Like, aside from the voice spam right now, what we have at the top is CLI, agent, assistant, and then, where did Obsidian go? Okay, so Obsidian it's getting up there. Personal assistant. I mean, that would, see, personal assistant would fit with Obsidian. So I think that's the thing that would, like, make the most sense right now. Health is kind of getting up there a little bit. Fridge contents is, I mean, it's still high up there. I just don't know how I'd make that work right now. We'll see. I wish I could see, like, the top phrases without, or, like, go past the first 5. All right. I think I should vote. Well, at this point, my vote would only make a tiny little dent. CLI, fridge CLI. All right, well, I think this has turned it into a bit of a mess, unfortunately. I knew that would happen, but luckily I still have a good idea what I should build. I'm not going to build a fridge CLI. Someone was just spamming that. Okay. Wait, could I combine obsidian and fridge? Could I combine that? I don't think I could. I don't know what that would do. It'd be funny to build a fridge CLI, but you can see the submissions just going up like super fast. Like now people are just spamming. I mean, I knew that would happen, so I have to think about. Okay, so I think I'm gonna call it here. I mean, you guys can keep like voting, and we'll see what happens. But at this point, I have to decide between two things. I either focus on a fridge, or I focus on something with obsidian, like a voice agent in obsidian. And I mean, besides the fridge CLI, fridge spam, I think obsidian is actually winning. So I'll probably do something with obsidian. The other problem with building a fridge application, like if you wanted to like use your voice to talk about the items in your fridge, you could just use Gemini for that because you can like share your screen and chat like as you're having your camera like pointed at something. So I don't know if I'd be able to do much like provide much value for that. But a voice agent that I can use with my Obsidian vaults, I haven't built that before or seen that because it kind of has to be a separate application. I don't know if there's a way to do like any kind of if there's like a voice plugin. Maybe there is. Let me search for that quick. I think it'd be good to figure that out first. So community plugins. Let me browse the community plugins for voice. Let's see. Text-to-speech adds sound, audio, and speech to your notes, letting them talk in your workspace. Mobile-friendly, perfect for learning. Yeah, but the thing is, this isn't like a voice agent. Like what I could actually do, right? Like this is more like converts text to speech in real time. Yeah, so it's not like an agent where I can like talk to it about my notes. Like building a sort of like RAG agent with my notes. I think that's something that none of these plugins have because it's more like just adding speech to text capabilities directly in versus like a voice agent, right? If I actually go with what you guys have in the word cloud, then it would be a voice agent. So I think that's what I'm going to do. How does that sound to you guys? Hopefully it's not just a bunch of spam votes that got me here, but I think the Obsidian stuff is legit. And before we had a lot of spam, it was voice, it was agent, it was assistant. So I think that's what has won here. I would say overall the word cloud was a decent success. It was a little bit messy at the end, but yeah, I mean, I came to my conclusion here. I'm going to build an Obsidian agent where I can chat about my documents. Let's do that. All right, so what I need to do is trying to think. I need like a second to just like ideate a little bit. You know what I mean? Like I gotta think now that we have the idea chosen, and you guys can share some ideas in the chat as well. John says this sounds good. Glad to hear it. Obsidian is useful. That is very true. I use Obsidian literally every single day. Search GitHub for Brat plugins. Is that a thing, or did Obsidian Brat plugin? Is that a thing? Beta reviewers auto update tool. Oh, I have heard of Brat. Yeah, okay, I have. But I don't know, how could I search in here for like those specific plugins? Obsidian Brat plugin for voice agent. I think I just want to build the voice agent. I think I'm set on this here. Beta voice agent plugins like the personal assistant. Okay, let me see this. Personal assistant, a plugin that harnesses an AI agent and streamlined techniques to help you automatically manage Obsidian. But is it a voice agent though? It doesn't look like it has voice agent capabilities. I mean, this is like it doesn't seem like a super evolved thing. I think that we can definitely build something better. We'll see. I mean, obviously that's not fair for me to say that when I barely looked at it, but it's not like some super popular plugin that's been super evolved. It's just got only one contributor, so it's not like a big open source project. It hasn't had a release since August. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything quite like what we're looking to build here. A voice agent that allows us to talk to our AI coding assistant, or to our Obsidian vault, and we can maybe even build a RAG pipeline as well. I'll have to do some ideation, but yeah, I think this sounds good. I think that's what we're gonna do here. So in order to get the job done, I am going to leverage, this is not the right folder. Let me pull up the template that I'm going to use as a starting point. All right. So in honor of the hackathon that's going on right now that I talked about at the start of the live stream, I'm going to be using Kiro for my AI coding assistant. I'm going to be using Claude Opus 4.5, which if you're on the free tier of Kiro, you can't use Opus 4.5 anymore, which is quite unfortunate. So I'm just on the $20 a month plan right now. I mean, Sonnet 4.5 is still a good coder, but yeah, I just want to make sure I have the best of the best for the challenge here, because I got to build this quickly. It needs to work pretty well if I want to do it within the time frame that I got for our stream here. So we're only a half hour into the stream, so we're making good time getting into the implementation pretty quickly. But yeah, I want to still like blaze through this as fast as I can. So also, in order for me to build quicker, there are a couple of pieces of context and tools that I have set up ahead of time. And so let me show that very quickly. So the first thing is, I have, let me show you the template for the hackathon. And so if you have joined the hackathon already, if you saw the live stream or my Quickstart video, you know the Quickstart template. I actually mentioned this at the start of the live stream as well. We got the Quickstart template. This provides you a command, a setup wizard, to help you set up all of the context up front for your project. The global rules, or in Kiro, they're called your steering documents. And so I can talk to my coding assistant. It's going to actually ask me questions when I run the Quickstart command, and it's going to help me set up my tech stack, my architecture, all the considerations that I have for my project, basically outlining the scope of work going into the MVP. So I'm going to use the template for that, and then also it comes with a bunch of commands for my typical agentic coding process. And so in the Dynamous community, I like to teach the PIV loop, as I call it. So it's the mental model of you plan with your coding assistant, you implement, and then you validate after. So both you and the coding assistant validate the work that was done before you go on to the next loop where you build out the next feature. And so these are the core commands that I use every single time I'm coding anything with AI. So I prime, I get the context from the code base so the agent understands what I'm currently building. And then I plan the feature. So structured planning, success criteria, the task list, the validation strategy, creating a single document with all that information, and then feeding that into the execute command, which also does all the validation. And then I can always do a more comprehensive code review after as well. So this is the workflow that I'm going to be using. It's built into this template that you can leverage yourself right now. So I'm going to be using this myself just to have a launching pad getting into the implementation. And then the other thing is I might want to make a front end for this. I'm trying to think if I'd want to build like a web app where I could chat with, because for the voice agent itself, I'll probably use LiveKit. And I'm trying to think if I'd probably want this to be a front end. Let's see here. It's kind of tough because voice is really difficult because you can't have your coding agent actually like talk to the application like I can as the user. And so I think in order to make it pretty easy to validate, I would need some kind of I kind of need like a way to talk to the agent with text and then also with voice. So my coding agent can at least work with all the text part of the application and test that automatically, and then I would have to just like manually test the voice stuff. Personally, I haven't come up with a way to have an agent like actually talk to another agent through automation, like Claude Code, like sending in voice commands to another agent or using Kiro or whatever. That would be cool. I don't know if that's possible though. So I'll probably have to make like a text component. But I do want to make a front end. I feel like it'd be good to have like a web application where I could talk to my Obsidian Vault. So just having it be more than just like a CLI tool, because the CLI would look kind of ugly for this. Like there's going to be so much context that it gives me when I'm chatting with my documents. So, because then like as it's responding to me with voice, it could also like pop up like the document references in Obsidian. So I'm just kind of like thinking out loud for the kinds of features that I want here. Because in a second, I'm going to go into the coding agent and I'm going to like have a very similar conversation to what I'm doing, just kind of like thinking out loud right now. So I'll be using this template. And then the other thing for, luckily I'm actually pretty prepared for building a front end here, because there's a tool that I've been doing some research and testing with recently that I'm starting to really fall in love with. And that is the Vercel Agent Browser. And so if we have time today, I will actually get into how the agent browser works. There's a whole Excalibur diagram that I've created for this because I'm planning on doing some content on the Vercel agent browser as well. And the whole point of this is it's a browser automation that's actually optimized for an AI coding assistant. Because when you use the Chrome DevTools or the Playwright MCP server or even the Playwright Claude skill, which I've been experimenting with as well, it's so token inefficient. And so Vercel is built in this browser automation so our AI coding assistants can navigate our websites just like a user would to do validation, and it works extremely well. The idea of browser automation for AI self-validation is super powerful, but then having a tool that's actually like context optimized is insane. And so I want to use that as well for what we've got built here. And I was really hoping that my use case would work well for a front end because I also have a skill built into my starting template here specifically for using the agent browser. And so we're going to be leveraging this skill. Because basically the skill provides instructions to my coding agent for how to leverage the agent browser CLI. And so, yeah, I guess CLI made it to the top of the word cloud. So we'll be using the CLI at least for the validation that we're having our coding agent run. And so it just gives instructions here for how we can use the Vercel agent browser to navigate websites, take screenshots. We'll have that as a part of our validation as well, clicking on buttons and filling out form fields and things like that. And so when I start up Kiro here, when I get to the point of validation, it'll read this skill and it'll understand how to do all of the end-to-end testing for me, which is going to lead to quite reliable results, I think, once I have the front end working with the LiveKit agent. And then I'll have like the text portion as well. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of architecting for this. Like you guys pick something that's like decently challenging, but I think it's a good amount of time. Like it'll probably go until about like when I was thinking the stream would be done. So maybe like a couple of hours. I don't know. We'll see. That's the danger of letting you guys pick, is I don't actually have any kind of idea how long this will actually take, but let's just go with it. So yeah, and by the way, if you're curious how I get skills to work in Kiro, it's actually using the steering documents. And so Claude implements skills natively. Kiro does not. So I had to build my own sort of infrastructure to load the context to like tell it about the skills. And so I'll publish this repo after the live stream if you want to take a look at how I have my Kiro set up to work with skills and the steering documents. But right now I just want to get into the building because that's the fun part. So I got my Kiro started already, and I'm going to use the very first command that the template gives me, which is the Quickstart. And so this is where it's going to ask me some questions, and I can start just doing a massive brain dump. And so you guys got to be ready here. I'm just going to be dumping a bunch of thoughts into the coding agent. And in order to do it efficiently, I will be using Aqua Voice. So this is my speech-to-text tool. If you're in the Dynamous community, you know that I'm using this all of the time. I cannot work without it anymore because typing is just so slow. And so when I run the Quickstart command, it asks me a bunch of questions to set the initial context for my project. So now I just need to answer everything. All right, so I'll do double alt to go into Aqua Voice. My project is going to be called Obsidian Voice Agent. And so the goal with this application is to build a front-end interface that allows me to talk either with text or with voice to my Obsidian knowledge base. So essentially it's an agent behind the scenes that has tools to search through all of the markdown documents in my Obsidian folder. And maybe we could implement a simple RAG pipeline as well. I think that'd be really cool. Well, actually, let's keep it simple. So to start, maybe RAG pipeline, we can table that. Right now, I just want to be able to do like regex and blob search and things in order to quickly navigate through the Obsidian knowledge base so that I can ask questions and it can like search for me and summarize documents that I have in my knowledge base and that kind of thing. And I want to be able to do this with voice, and I think LiveKit will be the right tool here to create a voice agent. And then also with text. And so for the text version of the agent, maybe we can use Pydantic AI. That's my preferred agent framework. But they should have the same tools under the hood, the LiveKit agent and the Pydantic AI agent, to search through the knowledge base for me. And so this is just going to be a local web application right now, so I don't need any kind of authentication. We'll keep it simple. For my primary technology here, I want to use Python for the backend with LiveKit and Pydantic AI, and then the front end can be a simple React and Vite application. And I don't have any specifics for the architecture, just do what's optimized. The main thing is making sure that we can share the tools between the text and voice versions of the agent. And especially the reason why I want the text version of the agent is because an AI coding assistant is not going to be able to send voice commands into the LiveKit agent. So when I do my end-to-end testing with the Vercel agent browser, I need to be able to use text in order to test all of the agent tools, for example. And so, yeah, as far as testing frameworks, we will be using the Vercel agent browser, and you have the skill for that as well to do end-to-end testing. All right, there we go. So that is my massive brain dump here. And there's probably a lot more context that I need to supply, but I'll just see what it does with this. And so, okay, it's going to set up my steering documents now. So the steering documents, that's Kiro's version of global rules. And so what it's about to output here, based on the templates that I have in the Quickstart. So it's going to like fill in product.md, structure.md, and tech.md with everything that's specific to what I just told it. So it's going to update the testing strategy, code standards, everything. And if there's anything that I disagree with once it fills in the template, because maybe I didn't give it enough information, then I can just keep iterating, right? So I'd work until my upfront context is very accurate to what I want to build. And then I'll get into the first piv loop where I do that whole prime, plan feature, execute, and validate workflow to build the features one at a time. So I want to define all the context up front and then split it into reasonable sized features to build out the code base throughout different iterations. I don't want my coding agent to try to build the entire thing at once or it'll be completely overwhelmed. All right. So long, OMG. I told you when I want to do a brain dump, like you got to be able to like just spew all your thoughts. Like that's the beauty of using Aqua Voice. Is there an MCP to control Obsidian and debug? There actually are a couple of Obsidian MCP servers. I played with a couple of them. They're pretty good overall, but they're definitely context hogs. And also, you can't use like voice with them that easily unless you're like creating a custom agent that leverages the MCP. Which I could also do that. You know what? I might actually do that. I might use an Obsidian MCP server as the tools for the agent. Maybe. I would actually mention MCP here. That's interesting. Let me read through what it says. Can you drop the repo link again for this? Yeah, so I can. One thing I will say though is that what I'm working on right now, I won't have published until after I built it. But if you're talking about the Quickstart template for the Kiro Hackathon, I'll go ahead and paste the link in for that right now. All right. Very good. So let's get back to it here. I'm going to read through what it said. All right, scroll up to the top. Oh no, I don't care about this. I just care about the summary at the end here. There we go. All right, so we've got our steering documents ready. We got the dev log so we can track our development process. That's part of the documentation that you submit for the Kiro Hackathon, so that's why I have that in the template as well. I've got my core commands that I already talked about. And then it's just suggesting that I start with the first piv loop here to build the initial tool layer first. So I think that's a good idea. So this is the foundation for both agents. I need the capabilities for actually searching through my Obsidian knowledge base. Okay, so now it's asking me about MCP servers. And this is another big decision that I have to make here. Is do I want to build all of the tools for Obsidian myself, or do I want to just leverage an MCP server and connect those capabilities directly to my Pydantic AI and LiveKit agents? And the big trade-off that you have with this kind of decision is if you build everything yourself, it's more work, but more customized. If you use an MCP server, then you might have a lot of tools that are added to your agent that you don't actually care about. And it's just going to be a context bloat. But then there's just a lot less work for me up front. And also, with an Obsidian MCP server, ideally, the creator of that MCP has put a lot of time into optimizing those tools already. So it might just simply be better than what I could build right now because they've iterated on it time and time again. I mean, that's always the goal. Whenever you're building any kind of software, you want to stand on the shoulder of giants, but not to the extent where like you can't customize anything to your own needs. And so I think for right now, when I want to create this in a very simple way where it just has read operations. I don't want it to be able to edit files yet. So I don't think I actually want to use MCP. So I'm going to actually go in and say that to Kiro through AquaVoice. I want to create the tools custom right now because I just want to start with read-only tools so it can search through and summarize and give me details on my documents. I don't want any kind of write operations now. So I don't think it'd be appropriate to use an MCP server. And I don't want to overcomplicate things with hooks and custom agents. So yeah, just add to the steering documents that what's in scope right now is just read operations for the tools. So this is just like a quick example of what it looks like to iterate on our initial context. Because, yeah, like obviously I didn't specify that, so it's not really Kiro's fault, but I definitely need to add something to the documents. I think it just updated product.md actually. But yeah, I just have to update like my requirements here. Like I want to just start with read-only operations. Then maybe in future piv loops, I can expand my sort of like PRD here, and I can expand the actual code base to include those write operation tools and connecting those to my agents here. So very good. All right. So what I'm going to do here, AquaVoice is not free. So it's $10 a month. To me, it's really, really worth it. That's why I pay for it. But there are a lot of free and open source alternatives as well. Like WhisperFlow is one that's very, very popular. Epicenter Whispering is another one. You can just like Google those, like WhisperFlow or Epicenter Whispering. There's some really good options out there. I just find that this works a little bit better than all of those free tools. And it's just nice to not have to host it myself because then I can like quickly download this and use it between my different devices. So, all right. I'm not going to do the prime command right now because I don't actually have anything in the code base, so I don't need to load that context. And so I'm going to go right into plan feature. But first I'm going to ask it like, what should we build to start? Because the first thing I do when I'm doing greenfield development, I'm just getting into the project, is I need to think about like, what's the very first thing, like the most fundamental part of the code base that I should start with? And usually that kind of involves creating the initial infrastructure and scaffolding as well. And so text agent, voice agent, React front end. So all of this is going to come after. The very first thing is the shared tools layer, because this is the foundation. Like I cannot do anything with my agents if I don't have the tools. And so we're not going to get into voice yet. I know that's the most exciting part probably for this implementation is getting into the actual voice agent, but we have to lay the groundwork first. But we'll get there. We'll have time for that. And so, yeah, I'll do plan feature. Let's go ahead and knock out the creation of the initial layer. All right. So, yes, let's start with the read-only tools layer. All right, so we're going to create our structure plan for that. All right. And then while we wait for this, I'll go to the chat as well. And I'll just answer some questions. I think that's generally going to be how the rest of the stream goes, is I've accepted your guys' challenge. I'm going through and building this now. I'll explain my process throughout a decent amount. But also just generally while we're waiting for Kiro to finish things, like creating the structure plan right now, I'll just go and answer your guys' questions so we can have some time for Q&A in between waiting for the agent. So let me go to the chat here and show some things. Any free alternatives to LiveKit? So LiveKit is actually open source and self-hostable. So it is free. I mean, there's a lot of different like voice agent frameworks out there. I would just like have Claude do some searches for you and suggest some tools. I don't know any off the top of my head because LiveKit, it's been my go-to for a while now because it is free and self-hostable. How long should it take? Well, we'll find out. You guys gave me the challenge, so I don't really know exactly how long this will take. I mean, I'll do like a hard cutoff in like a couple hours from now. But I'll try to be as quick as I can. But I gotta like, I can't rush through it too much, right? Or we're just gonna get bad results. It's important to treat your implementation with respect and like really give the time that your planning, for example, deserves. So right now it's asking me a couple clarification questions, I guess, before it gets into creating the structured plan. Um, I don't know. You're the one who actually mentioned cursor, Jex, and blob search. So you tell me if these are libraries or conceptual names for search capabilities. I think in general, I want to focus on like higher level capabilities. I don't think these are specific search strategies. So if there's something that was hallucinated here, go ahead and correct it. And so yeah, I think whoosh would be good for full text search, definitely. As long as that includes simple glob and regex, because I definitely need that as well. All right, so I think Kiro actually like hallucinated, or Claude Opus 4.5 actually hallucinated a little bit, because I don't know what the heck this is as far as like a search strategy. It says that this appears to be an AI code editor. No duh. I don't know like why that came up at all. I'm actually curious where that is in the steering documents. If I search for cursor, shared tools, cursor Jex blob, that's really weird. I actually have no idea why that came up. Yeah, I think there's a little bit of course correction that we have to do here, but I mean that's fine. That's why we do the planning up front, right? Like if it made that assumption is actually like trying to integrate the cursor CLI or something in the application, it would be totally broken. But that's why we do the planning, because now we catch these issues. It actually caught it for me, which is very cool, and then I can correct it. All right. What are your thoughts on a convex database? That's a good question. So convex is sort of like a replacement for Supabase. I mean, that's like the simplest explanation possible of what it is. A lot of people know what Supabase is. So it's a database for building full stack applications. I think it's really good. I haven't tried it enough to have a really solid opinion of it yet, but it is one of those tools that like I've tried initially, I was really impressed with, and I want to dive into it more. So yeah, I wish I could like share like a full opinion that I have on it right now, but I think that it's like, as far as like all the dozens and dozens and hundreds of tools coming out every month, like convex is one of those tools where it's like definitely signal over noise. You know what I mean? Like it's a really solid framework to use, and I know a lot of people that absolutely love it. So yeah, I mean definitely like 2 thumbs up for convex. Just something I wish I had more time to try out, and I will at some point in the near future here. So anyway, we got our structured plan now for creating the initial layer for our agents. So I'll go into the structure plan, take a look at this really quickly. So user story, as a knowledge worker with an Obsidian Vault, I want to ask questions about my notes via voice or text. That looks really good. But we need to start with the shared tool layer. So we're going to be using Whoosh as our search capabilities. I think that's good. LiveKit and Pydantic AI. New files to create. And look at this. This is important. It's so basic what we're starting with. I don't want to try to do too much at once. Otherwise, the reliability of our coding agent goes down a lot. And also because this is so simple, I also feel pretty confident not to do a lot of validation here. And so it's funny, breaking the tasks down more, and like the feature implementations down into something more granular, actually allows me to move quicker. I have to do more piv loops, but I'm less nervous about like not fully validating things. I want to go like kind of quick for the sake of the live stream, but this is pretty good. And we're not building a front end yet, so I don't need to have the, I'm not using the Vercel agent browser yet. We'll get to that once we have the front end. So this is solid. I'm going to go into the execution. And generally what I recommend doing, that's messy, is when you are done with your planning, it is time to go into your execution in a new context window. Because, let me run this first. Tools, trust all. I'll just do basically the YOLO mode so that I can move quick here. When you're done with your planning, this is my huge recommendation. You always want the output to be a single markdown document that has all of the context that you need to actually implement that feature. And so I can allow myself to cut the context window short and go into the next context window for execution, because now all I need to do is tell the agent to read this file, and then it has everything it needs to get into the implementation, but it also doesn't have all the bloated context from the research and back and forth that I had in planning. Like I could go right into the execution, but the problem with that is now the context window is already super full. And there's going to be so much work ahead of us here to write the code and do the testing. So that's why I want to start fresh. So there we go. I'll send in the plan, kick it off. There we go. All right, so this will go for a little bit here. So I'll go back to the chat. What's almost as good as Supabase? We were talking about Convex, which I didn't say it's not as good or better. Because like I said, I don't have the fullest opinion of Convex yet. It's just really good. It's similar to Supabase too. Can we have a link of the running or deployed project from the form? Oh, are you talking about the... I think I might actually have that public. I'll have to see. So are you talking about this site, if you want the link to this site? Because I might have that already. Let me check that off camera. It might be a public repo, or maybe I made it private. But I could share this as well. Is this public? It is public. Oh yeah, okay. So I can share the link to this right now. There we go. So I'll show this in the browser real quick. So this is the repo for the website that I have deployed, where you guys voted on what I built. So I built this. This is very much vibe coded. Keep in mind, I didn't like go through the full piv loop process and validate everything myself. It's a simpler application. I think it turned out really well. I built this with the Anthropic harness for long-running agents, which I have a video on that on my channel as well if you want to look at my videos. I think I did that like 4 or 5 videos ago. It's the one where I said that I let Claude Code run for 24 hours straight. So yeah, definitely check this out if you're interested in this app. It's a pretty neat one. Like there's a lot of different use cases if you just want people like vote on something, but you also don't want it to just be multiple choice. Like the reason I built this is I wanted you guys to submit free form ideas, but still have some kind of way to like extract what people are saying the most and then like vote on that as well. So it like sort of almost turns into multiple choice, but it starts freeform. I think it besides the spam, which I could have like added authentication, but I wanted to make it easy for you guys. Besides the spam, I think this worked really, really well. So, okay, let me go back to Kiro here and make sure. Oh, it's already done. That's cool. So I can go, so we got, where's the actual code base? Backend, source, tools. All right, I mean, it's kind of basic right now, but, okay. Oh, here's the search tools. Okay, find file, search content. And then we are using source tools, index, whoosh. Okay, so we are using whoosh. Okay, so this looks good. I'm going to go ahead and trust it and move on because I want to go pretty quick. So I could run the commit command in order to save things, but I don't really need to work with git right now. So I just want to build this quickly. So I'm going to clear and, oh, I should have done that because I have to select the model again. So model, we'll do Opus again, and then tools, trust all, and then I'll do a prime. And so I'm starting the next piv loop. So I didn't do much for validation myself, but that's because we started with just the initial scaffolding and tool layer. So there's not much for me to validate yet. And so now I'm just going to the next piv loop. I'm running prime. It's going to read what we already have implemented. And based on that plus our global rules, it's going to figure out what do we have to build next, which I think it's going to suggest building the Pydantic AI agent. We'll see what it suggests, but I'm going to just take the next granular feature and then run with that one in a very similar process. So we've got the structure for our workflow down now. We're just going to keep repeating this process, building out over time. But hopefully we can go pretty quickly because Kiro is a very fast coding agent. That's one of the reasons I love it. And then also we have these smaller implementations one at a time that I think it's going to knock out quite easily. And so next steps, build the voice agent, build the text agent. Okay, I'm going to say, let's actually start by building the Pydantic AI agent, and then we'll create a very simple React front end. So I want to knock both these out at once so that I'm able to use the Vercel agent browser to test everything and make sure that the agent is working well and that the React front end is working well. Then we can get into building the LiveKit agent and get into the voice stuff after. So I'm just trying to think about what's simplest. I know the voice agent is like the main thing that we want for this application, but I want to make sure that everything is set up well first before we get into voice. because voice agents are more difficult to troubleshoot than text agents. And so as long as the text agent is working really well, then we know that the tools are fine, right? Like if we encounter any issue in our Pydantic AI agent, we know it's an issue with tools. If there's an issue in our voice agent, it might be more with like our voice model, or maybe it is the tools. And so I like making, whenever I have this kind of like voice agent, I'll usually make like a text agent version just to like make sure the core capabilities are working. It makes it easier to troubleshoot the voice agent in the end. So that's why I'm starting with this. And then it's nice to have the React front end as well. So I don't think that it's going to be too much. Oh, you know what? It just went right into the implementation. Oh, that's bad. Hold on. No. Kiro. Oh shoot! I restarted Kiro. I didn't mean to do that. I just meant to interrupt it once. So okay, tools, trust all. That's mess. It didn't go into the planning. It like just started building right away, which is not good. So resume. Oh man, I forgot how to resume a chat. Wait, hold on. Kiro CLI -- resume. I think that's it. No. Does anyone remember how to resume a chat in Kiro? Kiro resume. I forget. I'm just looking up on my other monitor here. It says resume is a valid command. What am I doing wrong? You know what? I might just redo the prime here. Yeah, that's not working. I thought I did that before and it worked. Okay, anyway. All right, we're restarting. So /tools trust all. I'll run prime again. I don't know what it created. Did it create anything in the back end? Okay, it did. So I'm gonna delete this, and then API routes. That's fine. I'll just leave that. It created a couple of things, but that's whatever. I'll just go through the process again. I deleted the front end folder too. Okay. Well, little blip. Okay, Kiro CLI chat resume. Okay, thank you. Well, it's a little too late now, but let's see. All right, so yeah, there's that little blip from the implementation that it started doing. So anyway, I'm going to specifically tell it. So I'm going to go back to my Aqua Voice. This is another nice thing with Aqua Voice. I can go to my history, and I can copy what I said before so that it's saved. And so now I can send this in and speak to what I want to build another time. So, and then I'm going to say, do not build anything yet. Just acknowledge what I'm saying and summarize what we should do, and then I'll go into the planning after. There we go. So I should have entered like plan mode, but this works as well. Agents generally do a really good job at respecting when you tell it not to go into implementation yet. So it's kind of my fault that I basically told it like, let's start building, right? Like this is entirely my fault. I told it to start building versus saying like, let's plan this specifically. And so now I can do plan feature, send in the command, and now it'll create the structure plan for the second pivot we're doing here. So there we go. That's much, much better. So a little bit of a hiccup, but that's always how it goes with coding agents. So yeah, now we're looking good. All right, so let's go back to the chat here. Please make sure you are a good development agent and you make good commits when speaking commit messages. Yeah, commit messages are a pretty important thing. I'm not going to focus on that right now. But you can actually, if you get messages created in a nice way, where it's very descriptive of what was actually done for that loop, then you can use Git as long-term memory. You can have the agent as a part of the priming process actually reference the Git log to see what's been built recently, so that you have the long-term memory for the agent. And actually, while we're waiting for this, I can show that is something that I covered on my channel recently. So I'll go to my channel from my other account here. If I go to videos, this video right here, the 5 techniques separating top agentic engineers right now. Using Git as long-term memory is one of the things that I talk about. I think that's number 3 or 4 in the list of 5. And so I'd highly recommend checking out this video. I put a lot of effort into that one, just like there's a million different strategies that I have for agentic coding. And this one I just synthesize it all into like the most important stuff that you could implement. You just give yourself an hour to bring these ideas into your code base, and you'll save yourself hours and hours and hours very, very quickly. So yeah, definitely check that out. Quick plug there, because that content's exactly what you're talking about. All right, agent's still going. Let's see what else we got in the chat here. In our hackathon submission, do we have to have steering documents, and what are they for, and what should they contain? So yeah, you should have your steering documents as a part of your hackathon submission, because your steering documents are your global rules. And so if you've used any kind of AI coding assistant before, you know what global rules are. Like in Cursor, they're your agents.md, same with Codex. In Claude Code, it's your Claude.md. So they're just called steering in Kiro. And so for the hackathon, if you use the template and you use the Quickstart command, like I did here in this stream, it'll create that for you. So we have the templates that it'll fill in based on your requirements. These are my global rules for my Obsidian voice agent here. But that's an important part of your AI layer, as I like to call it. This is the context in your code base that's used for your coding agent to understand your constraints and conventions and just generally what you are building. So you definitely need that as a part of your submission. If you haven't built it yet, then you can still. Like, you don't have to do that up front. It's just very helpful to, because my steering documents, they guide. I mean, that's why they're called steering. It guides my implementation. This is the structure that I'm going for. This is exactly what I'm building. Here's my tech stack and the constraints I have for that, right? Like that, the performance requirements is like a tiny example. Like, it's really helpful to have these things because it guides our coding agent. So yeah, that's and that's something that I outline in the submission criteria as well, that you want to have your steering documents, your commands, and your devlog, which I don't think I've done anything for this. Well, actually, it's done a little bit for the devlog here, but nothing too much yet. Okay, anyway, so we have our structure plan here. So let me take a look at this very quickly for building our agent and our React front end. All right, so it even calls out the end-to-end testing with the agent browser, which is very important. I need that as a part of the validation strategy here. And validation strategy is one of the most important parts of any structure plan. So here are the pieces of context we should read. Here are the new files that we're going to create, the patterns that we're going to follow. So it did some research on Pydantic AI, for example, which is very good. This is how we're going to call into our agent API endpoint in the front end. I like that. There's a lot of ideas, like even reading through this right now, I already know there are some things that I want to do to iterate with the agent, because I don't think it's doing token streaming. You can see here, it's not doing token streaming. So when we send a request into our agent, what we get back, it's just we're gonna get a response back once we have all of the tokens generated from the agent. For front-end apps, I usually like to have token streaming so we can see the agent like basically typing out to us. So we don't have that. But also for the text agent, I am more just using this as a way to test, because the voice agent is the real goal. So I'm not worried about that, and I do want to move pretty quickly. And so I'm just gonna call this good. But usually with my structure planning, I do iterate a few times. I'll say like, hey, you're not doing token streaming. I want that as a part of the back end and the front end. Or like, hey, your testing strategy isn't good enough. Like, let's actually list out the actions we want to do with the agent browser. So like right here, it's pretty generic overall. It's not even calling out the specific CLI commands to run for the agent browser. So maybe I'd want to iterate on that. But the agent will figure that out during execution, so I'm not really worried. Actually, it does call it out right here. So this is better, because it's calling out the specific commands to run. That's what I was looking for. But just trying to give some examples of things that I might iterate on for the plan, because you really want to make sure that this is solid. Because remember, once we're done with that, I'm going to do /clear. I'm going to clear the context, and I'm going to go into the execute command now, because this file that we're just looking at is all I need. So that's why I have to make sure that it's really well designed. So I'll copy this path, paste it in, and boom, we are off to the races, building the front end and our Pydantic AI agent, and then we'll do the browser validation as well. So we'll see towards the end, it actually like navigate the website with the Vercel agent browser. Unfortunately, we can't see the browser pop up live like we can with the Playwright MCP server. So that's one of the bummers here. But still, we'll get to like see in the logs it click on the different buttons in the site and like interact with the agent. All right, so I'll go back to the chat while we let this run. Kiro CLI, that's cool. Better than Claude Code. So my honest opinion is that there are pros and cons of both. I would say Claude Code is a bit more powerful overall as far as the actual code quality. But Kiro is a lot faster. And so when I'm building quick proof of concepts, I like Kiro more. For most things, though, I still am using Claude Code. But yeah, the thing that I like about Kiro is that they're pushing the limit on just like the features that are available. Like they have some things that Claude Code doesn't. They're both kind of like on the cutting edge. Like I would say that like most other IDEs are falling behind compared to the functionality that Claude Code and Kiro have. Like they're both my favorite. I'd say Claude Code I like a bit more though right now. So like for example, one thing you can do with Claude Code and Kiro is you can have documents that are loaded in automatically based on certain file types that the agent is editing. And so like before it starts editing HTML files or JSX files, it'll read this document for my front-end design guideline. And so instead of having to like load this up front and have this as a part of our global rules, we can deterministically specify when this is loaded in based on the actions the agent is taking. So having context loaded in based on certain things the agent is doing is something that we don't have in most coding agents yet, but both Claude Code and Kiro have that. A lot of other features around like long-term memory and things like that Kiro has just done a really good job with. So yeah. What are we doing here? Oh, it's installing packages. Okay, so it's, yeah, still chugging along nicely. All right, what else do we got in the chat? All right. What do you prefer about Windsurf as an IDE over Cursor? So I am using Windsurf right now, but I'm not actually using Cascade. I'm just using it basically as a Visual Studio Code, a VS Code. I could like just open up VS Code and it would be the exact same thing. Like I just, it's more of like a habit than anything that I'm using Windsurf because I used to actually use it as my primary agentic coding agent. But yeah, like at this point, there's not like a reason I'm using it over Cursor or just VS Code. That all the features are pretty much the same, at least for what I'm using it for. It's a good question though. People ask me that a lot. I probably should just switch over to VS Code so it's more obvious that like I'm just using the terminal here to interact with generally Claude Code, but also like Kiro and Codex, like Kiro like I'm doing right now. All right. What Python tools will you use to validate your code? Yeah, so for the backend, I'll be using PyTest. I think that's built into the tech stack here. If I search for PyTest, I'm curious if that comes up. Yeah, there we go. So PyTest is what we'll be using to test the backend. And then also, when we do our end-to-end testing with the Vercel agent browser, I know this isn't a Python tool like you're asking, but that's how I'll be doing testing of both the front end and the back end at the same time. But for the front end, I'm just going to keep it simple with PyTest. All right, you're excited, Dylan? I appreciate it. I'm excited too. I mean, this is going pretty well overall. It's hopefully this execution doesn't go too long. Looks like it's just working through the testing of the backend right now. So we're using PyTest Live, like you literally just asked about. Yeah. What do I think about augment code? So augment code, it's kind of fallen off, honestly. People were really excited about it last year. Their big thing with augment code is they had super efficient code indexing, code-based indexing. So whenever you loaded augment code into a project, it would take your code base and basically put it in a vector database for RAG. And the goal there was to make it very easy for your agent to navigate through your code base and search for the files that it needed to edit for your feature implementation or just read for context. The problem with that is it's become quite obvious, especially over the last like half year, even last few months, that you don't really need to index a code base. RAG is a very powerful technique. Do not get me wrong. RAG for unstructured data is super powerful. That's how you give your agent the access to your external knowledge so it can search through your documents for you. But for coding specifically, RAG is not that useful. There are so many other ways to like represent your code base as an AST, an abstract syntax tree, and search through it that way. Regex and blob search. I mean, a lot of the tools that we're using here for Obsidian knowledge base, RAG is actually pretty good, but for a code base, you just don't need that. And so tools like Claude Code, they don't even index your code base, and they still work so well. Like when I use Claude Code or a tool like Kiro, like it's able to find everything that I need it to. When I'm asking it to do a refactor or just like search a code base for context, like it finds everything. And so Augment Code, I think that's the main reason why it's sort of fallen off as one of like the top contenders for best coding agent. Not that it's a bad tool, like it still is a very impressive tool. And I think that like there still is room for debate. Should we index our code bases or not? But the general consensus right now, especially the direction that a lot of the top coding agents are going, is that you don't need to. And Anthropic has talked about that a lot themselves as well. I think like if I were to just search for an article, I could probably find it. Anthropic on why they don't index code base. Yeah, so right, I mean this isn't giving the why, but this is exactly what I was talking about. They don't index it, they use just-in-time approaches. So live searching with like grep, find, and glob searching. So key reasons. So I mean this is a Gemini summary, so take it with a grain of salt. I don't know if it's like extremely accurate, but these are the things I've heard. Like it avoids stale data. With the RAG index, you need to make sure that you're constantly syncing the index with the changes that are made in the code base. There's also a whole other attack surface because you're storing your code base in a secondary way. So that can be a little dangerous as well. And then just like there's been a big shift in the industry recently towards giving your agent even more flexibility around how it searches, how it leverages your tools, i.e. skills. And so indexing a code base is very similar to MCP. We're forcing a certain way for the agent to do something. So MCP is sort of getting replaced, at least in some degree, by skills. So we're allowing the agent to more dynamically explore its capabilities instead of loading it all up front. It has more flexibility how it leverages those tools. Same kind of thing with indexing versus not. When we index, we're just giving a couple of capabilities to perform RAG to search the code base, versus with tool-based exploration, it's all dynamic, real-time. There's a lot more flexibility for how the agent goes about searching the code base. And so the argument there is as long as the agent is able to actually not go off the rails with the extra capabilities and flexibility we give it, then it is more powerful. And speaking of that, something that I have in my Vercel agent browser diagram, it actually speaks to that too. Because Vercel has a similar philosophy, less is more. So there was a case study that was released back in December. Vercel was working on a text-to-SQL agent they were calling D0. And they started by giving it 17 tools, so that the agent had all these different capabilities for understanding schema and adjusting data, like foreign keys and relationships. Like they had all these different tools. And then at some point they were hitting these issues where like they only had an 80% success rate for the agent fulfilling their requests, like edit these tables, search for this thing, like join these tables, whatever it might be. And they reduced it to 2 tools. So essentially the agent was just able to generate whatever SQL it wanted within boundaries and obviously like safety they built in. And so they made it a lot more dynamic. It's a very similar evolution from like MCP to skills and indexing code bases to real-time search. Like that's the connection that I'm making here. And so in going from 17 to 2 tools and giving the agent a lot more reasoning power, they actually ended up having a much higher success rate. Like literally 100%. Like all of the tests that they were running before that was 80% success rate, with 70 tools it got up to 100%. And it was a lot faster, and it used a good amount less tokens and required less steps overall. And so basically every tool is a choice you're making for the model. Sometimes the model just makes better choices. Not that it's smarter, but like it knows best the route to use or get through to answer your question. And so a lot of times when you try to set up a ton of constraints and you force specific capabilities because you think it's going to make it more deterministic, it actually just gets in the way of the model reasoning best how to accomplish the task. And again, that relates very heavily to just allowing the agent to leverage skills, dynamic code execution, same kind of thing with just real-time search as well. you're just getting in the way of the agent less. And it's very uncomfortable because there's more room for hallucination there. But the argument here is that that risk of hallucination is actually less than the risk of just shoehorning the agent too much when you're indexing the code base or giving it 17 specialized tools. And yeah, exactly. Lazy tool loading. That's exactly what skills are, basically. Another idea is progressive disclosure. That's often related to the idea of skills, which we're using skills right now because we have the skills for front-end design and the agent browser that we're doing for validation. And so I think we can actually check that now. Hold on. So we've gotten through the execution. We've created our front end as well. I don't think it did the validation though. Did you do the end-to-end validation with the Vercel agent browser? I don't see any commands that you ran to do that, and that was an extremely important part of our validation process laid out in the structured plan. So I think it missed that, unless I'm not looking at the logs right, or if it did it higher up, potentially. But I think it missed that entirely, which is pretty unfortunate, but that's all good, because we can just correct it. Course correction, you have to do that a lot when you're working with coding agents. But yeah, I think it definitely missed the mark there. Okay. You're right, I skipped the agent browser E to E. Okay, I kind of want to ask it after it's done why it skipped, because that's frustrating. But it's doing it now. So there we go. So it's using the agent browser, so you can see it opened the front end after it started it. It's taking a snapshot, where did the snapshot go? I'm going to open the file explorer here because I need to see based on the screenshots. Sort by date. Okay. This is not the right screenshot. Hold on. I'm going to have to ask it where it's putting the screenshots. Screenshot saved to .kiro screenshots end to end. Oh, here it is. Okay, so this is a screenshot that I just took. What notes do I have about Python? Agent, error, failed to get response. Well, there we go. That's why we're doing our testing. Because in doing the testing, it actually figures out that there's an issue here. Either something in the back end or the front end. That's the beauty of end-to-end testing, is we're able to test both at once. And so now it can dig into the issue. So clearly Kiro did not do enough testing up front. So kind of frustrating, but now that we did a bit of course correction, it's able to realize that there is a problem that we have here. So, okay, the front end is working. The error is expected because we don't have... Oh, okay. So maybe there's not a problem. I just don't have the OpenAI API key set yet. So that's my bad. I need to do that. So path to Obsidian Vault, index path, and then my Obsidian API key. So I guess I should actually set these off camera, so then we can do full validation. So I'll set that off camera, and then I'll come back to Kiro and tell it, like, okay, I've set my .env, so now I want you to do the validation again. So I'll just copy and paste this here, rename it to .env, and then in my front end, I need to make sure there's not, yeah, so usually the front end doesn't have a .env as well, unless it's like Supabase or something, or convex. So in the back end, I need to set this. So index path, what is vault index? What is the index path mvar? Don't actually know. And then the path to the Obsidian vault, I can grab that quick as well. So let me do that off camera too. Let's see. Dynamous engine. Just navigating to the path here. There we go. So my Obsidian Vault path is this. I just call it Dynamous because that's my business. All right. And then it's used by Whoosh search engine to store index documents relative to where you run the back. Okay, so that actually doesn't matter for me. So the last thing I have to do is I just need to set my OpenAI API key, which I'll do that obviously off camera. So I need to navigate to a directory where I have access to that. So let me do that quick. Boom. Just got to grab the right key. And then I'll ask it to do the validation again. There we go. Boom, pasted. Great. So there we go. All right. Let me go back to the chat here. I gotta just reorganize things for a sec now that I got that set up. All right. There we go. All right. All right, I have updated my .env. I have everything you need now for validation. So make sure that we don't get an error now when we chat with the agent to do the testing again with the agent browser. There we go. All right, now we're off to the races with things actually set up. So we're good to go. Cool. All right. And then while we wait for that, hold on. For some reason, my taskbar won't pop up. Let me try to fix that quick. Windows does this thing sometimes. Like I hide my taskbar because it doesn't look the prettiest for streaming, but then sometimes it like won't come back, so I have to like disable it and re-enable it again. I don't know if you guys have had that happen before for Windows as well. Maybe I missed it, but why the Vercel browser use? Yeah, good question. So I'm actually doing a video on the Vercel agent browser tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. I'll be covering this Excalibur diagram and actually doing a comparison where I compare the context usage and efficiency to the Playwright MCP server, which is another really common browser automation tool. So browser automation in general is very important for AI self-validation because it allows you to test the front end and back end at the same time and exactly how a user would interact with your site. So it's a lot better in general than just basic unit testing and integration testing. All of that is important. I like to have what I call the validation pyramid. So I'll do linting and type checking. That's a part of my structure plan. I'll do unit testing, I'll do integration testing, but then in the end, I always want to test the application as a user actually would. So that's what something like the agent browser or Playwright MCP is for. But this is just much more token efficient. The thing is, the Vercel agent browser is a tool that is actually meant for AI agent browser automation. Playwright has been around for a very, very long time. It initially was meant more for like you to create your unit tests that are deterministic, right? Like you build some functionality, you know how it's supposed to work, or maybe you're doing test-driven development, and then you'll build the automation with Playwright that'll go through the website in the same way every single time, and you have that as your integration testing. You like put it in your CI/CD, whatever it is. So now like using Playwright with agents, it's kind of just been shoehorned. Like, okay, now we can have the agent write the Playwright script, or we can have the agent use a Playwright MCP, but it's not really meant for an agent. It's very context inefficient. And so agent browser is actually made for LLMs basically. And the way that we like represent the structure of the website is like actually pretty genius. So yeah, I'll be covering this more for the video tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. All right. Yeah, better with token use. Exactly. Cole, will you be sharing with the Dynamous community the Vercel agent browser info? Yes, I definitely will be. And like I just said, covering it in the YouTube video as well. So I got you covered. Like I'll be covering this because I think like this is really important. In general, I found that browser automation is the most powerful way to validate any application. As long as you have a front end so you can use the tool. Like obviously if you're building a CLI tool or something that's just in the back end, you don't have this luxury. But when you're building anything with a front end, which I think is most use cases for most people, then you should be using something like this. And so I really want to focus on it. Okay, let me go back to the right folder here. There we go. Yeah, you're welcome. All right. So what is it doing now? Okay. Well, it showed my API key, so I'll have to delete that. It's funny. Anyway, what is it doing now? Run the following commands. Yeah, I'm gonna have to remove that. Why is it using curl? Why is it not using the agent browser use? That's stupid. I'm gonna have to ask it that. So I'll let it run for a little bit, but I'm not really sure why it's doing that. Yeah, all right, so we'll let it go for a sec. Hold on. Just need a sec to check the API key here. Okay, so now it's using the agent browser. Okay, good. I don't know why it wasn't before. So this is looking better now. Okay. All right. Very good. I think it's working now. So it took a screenshot, end-to-end chat success. Okay, so let me take a look at the screenshot here. So .Kiro screenshots, end-to-end chat success. Okay, but what notes do I have about Python? It appears there are no notes specifically mentioning Python in your knowledge base. So I don't know if the tool's actually working, but the agent is responding now. So the front end is good. And like this is the cool part about end-to-end testing is that I don't actually have to like start the website myself. Like the proof is in the pudding here. If the screenshot is right, then I know that the front end and back end are communicating that everything's working well. I don't even have to do nearly, well, I mean, maybe you should do manual validation still, but I have to do it a lot less because I can definitely just trust that things are going well when the screenshot shows me that it is. And so, yeah, the one thing that I'm a little uncomfortable with is that it's saying there are no notes on Python because there probably should be in my knowledge base. I mean, there's a lot of like YouTube scripts and things that I have in there. And so I'm going to say, all right, I'm glad things are working pretty well with the front end and back end connection, but I'm worried that the tools aren't working for the Obsidian search because I definitely have some documents about Python. So maybe what I want you to do right now, there's one YouTube script that I have in my knowledge base about LiveKit. So I want you to try to search for that one, ask the agent to search for that one. If it can't find the LiveKit YouTube script, then we definitely have a problem with the capabilities for the agent, or maybe it's not like correctly searching through the knowledge base. Like maybe the path is wrong. I mean, I know I said it right in my .env, but maybe it's not loading the right path or something for the knowledge base. So maybe you can like look at the logs for that and dig into that deeply if the agent isn't actually able to find anything even for a LiveKit search. So just telling it like specifically something I know will work, because if we got a problem here, then we got a problem in our backend. This is exactly why I wanted to test it out with the Pydantic AI agent first before I build the voice agent, because we'll make sure that the searching actually works before we move on to trying to talk to the agent. And so I'm going to let this go here. And I actually need to take a quick break to go to the restroom. So I will mute myself and turn off my camera. And then I will come back in just a couple of minutes here. And then in the meantime, you guys can just watch it go here. So, all right. I will pause and come back, but I'll keep the stream running. So just turn off my camera. All right, I am back. Cool. So we had one. I was like just doing something off camera really quick. Kiro does this once in a while, where it will give me this like Rust backtrace full error thing. A lot of people have reported this. It's kind of frustrating. Usually you just have to like tell it to continue and then it keeps going. Oh hey, it actually worked though. I think we're good. Agent browser screenshot e2e livekit search.png. Hold on. Yeah, nice. Okay, that actually worked. Because I mean, obviously I know my own knowledge base. Let me let me fix the camera here. There we go. And I know that these are my documents, so this is really good. So the search is working. The agent is actually working, which is super cool. So now the main thing is building the voice agent. Like, honestly, let's see, what time is it? So 10:39. We're blitzing through this. Like, I think we're going to be able to build the voice agent in a single loop here. So this is really cool. Now, the problem is it's going to be harder to do validation. So in a second here, it'll be up to us to actually start the front end and back end and try the agent out ourselves. But I mean, I want to do that for the demo anyway. And so, yeah, let's get into it. So, yeah, that is the beauty of the agent browser. And man, I don't know what I would do without it. It would take so much longer to work through all of this validation. So this is super cool. So I'm going to do /clear, and then I will do an app prime. So fresh context window. Things have been validated for the last piv loop. Now we go into the next one here. So I'll let it just kind of think through things. Is it vectorized? No, so I'm not vectorizing. I'm just going to be doing simple like markdown like regex and blob search for the agent right now. It probably would be optimal to index my Obsidian knowledge base, but I want to keep it simple. I don't want to have to build an entire RAG pipeline right now. But it would be a good way to expand because, like I was just saying earlier, RAG isn't really the best for code bases. That's the general consensus. But for unstructured data, like all your markdown documents in Obsidian knowledge base, 100%. I think that RAG is really good. So, all right, we got our priming now. Let's see, not yet implemented. API routes, not yet. That's weird. We should have that because we have the front end. I don't know. Anyway, let's see. Well, actually, okay, this is really weird. It's saying that we don't have any API endpoints, but the front end was able to talk to the back end. Okay, but how is the front end able to talk to the back end if we don't have any API endpoints yet? I think you're misunderstanding something, because in our last implementation, we literally used the front end to talk to the agent, and we were able to search through our knowledge base. So that's a little bit of an oddity. Interesting. Well, let me look at it myself. I need to make sure there's not some massive problem going on here. If I look at API, we do have routes. No, it's working. It's a really, really basic API endpoint, but it's there. Front-end calls get rewritten, blah, blah, blah. Full stack is wired up and working. My initial scan missed the routes.py. That's weird. Okay, anyway, well, we're good. All right, so what's the next thing we should build? What makes sense to build now that we have our Pydantic AI agent and the initial front end? All right. Improve the front end UI. The back end is functional, but the front end is bare bones. Since you're building something in a demo showcase, a polished UI, you know what? I don't really care about that right now. I was hoping it would just say the voice agent, but also when you're working with your agent asking for suggestions, the whole reason you're asking for a suggestion and not for it to move forward right away is you want to be in the driver's seat. And so personally, especially given the goal of the live stream here, I do want to just get into the voice agent. So don't build anything yet, but I think I actually want to get into the voice agent next, because as we're building the voice agent, we'll have to make additions to the front end anyway. And so we'll make the front end look better as we're building in the capabilities to talk to our voice agent behind the scenes anyway. And so, yeah, I need you to do some research right now, figuring out how we can hook up the LiveKit agent to the front end, how we can talk to the front end. Basically, what I want is a button that I can press to be able to talk to the agent. And then like another button I can press to like mute myself or like stop the conversation. And then I also want a window to pop up that'll like show the files that are being referenced when the agent says like, oh, here's the file that I found, or here's a summary of this. Like, I think it'd be cool if it would like actually show me the file and like a path to it. in real time. So you'd have to figure out like how we can extract that from the LiveKit agent in the tool calls. So again, another brain dump there. But I think it'd be really cool as we're talking to the agent, it's going to say like, hey, I found this file, or here's a summary of this file. But if there could be like a sidebar that's like showing the files that it's referencing, so like when we get a result from our search tool call, that it'll like take that context and like also send that to the front end, not just the response from the agent. I don't know how we would do that, but I want to try to make it a little bit more challenging here for fun. So that'd be super cool. Because then it's more, then we're using the front end more than just as a button to chat with the voice agent. Because at that point, it could just be a CLI tool. Like we want to have something actually cool in the UI to make it interesting. So we'll see what it comes up with here. Okay. Can you even connect Pydantic AI with LiveKit? I'm not trying to. I'm using Pydantic AI just to test the tools. And then LiveKit will be a separate thing. Because LiveKit is it's an agent framework itself. So it doesn't make sense to incorporate it with Pydantic AI. They're both frameworks. They're just one's meant for more like text-based and one's meant for voice. Oh, there was a donation that I missed. I'm so sorry. Massive respect for doing live work with 100 plus viewers. Elite skills. Thank you all for your hard work. Keep building. Thank you very much for the kind words and the donation. It is challenging to build things live and work through all the mistakes that come up, like things that have already happened. But it's fun. Like I enjoy this a lot. Like every time I do a live stream, I'm having a blast. And having you guys actually like pick out doing a voice agent and stuff. You know, voice agents, like of course I build them, but they're not my expertise as much as some other things. But I like the challenge, so I'm having fun with this. But yeah, thank you for the donation. All right. So okay, we are done with our little bit of research here. Let's see what it said. So architecture, connect mute button, audio visualizer, reference files panel. That's right. Yep, we're using WebRTC with the LiveKit server, Python voice agent. So it doesn't mention anything with Pydantic AI, which is good because I want it to leverage the same functions, the same capabilities, but I don't want it to be tied to Pydantic AI, like I was saying. It's its own agent framework. So, okay. Call your existing search tool, right? So I'm just making sure that it's following the architecture as it's supposed to. It's not going to reinvent the logic for searching, connecting the exact same tools to LiveKit that we did to Pydantic AI. And then here's our plan for the front end. UI features you want. Yep, that looks good. This is like all like really good. Let's see. Oh, but I need the LiveKit cloud account. Oh, okay, I'm gonna have to set that up as well. Because I mean, you can self-host, but for the sake of simplicity here, I don't want to set that up right now. So I'll just use the LiveKit cloud with the free tier, because their free tier is pretty nice. So. All right, this is, well, no, actually, I don't need to go into awkward voice, because I'll just do plan feature. There we go. And while we do plan feature, that's when I can set up LiveKit here. So we'll go back to the browser and do that. So LiveKit, there we go. And so everything that I do here on the free tier, remember, you are able to do this self-hosted if you don't want these limits. So let me sign in. Continue with Google. Select my account, signing back into LiveKit. All right, it's taking its sweet time. Okay, so currently on free tier. I'm gonna stick with that. Okay. So I need I'm gonna have to do this off camera, obviously. Oh, that's cool. Look at Kiro's using some sub agents here for research. That's really good. I like to see that because that'll also speed things up for us here. Subagents for research, because of the context isolation you have with subagents, is the best use of them. So that is good to see. All right, so let me go to my API keys, and I will create more live stream. Let's call it live stream challenge. Generate key. I'm doing this off camera, of course, but I'm going to. Let's see. Copy these, and then I'll just paste it in another browser tab here. Okay, there we go. All right, so I am now ready to paste that in once it asks me to update the .env, because I'll have to do that before we can do more validation here. So very good. All right. Back over to the chat. See if you guys got anything else for me here. Let's see. Oh, that's the wrong one. Kiro CLI equals Amazon Q CLI. In a sense, so AWS started with the Amazon Q developer CLI, and now they're focusing entirely on Kiro. So I think they even have like a migration guide in their docs from the Q developer CLI to Kiro. So I would focus on Kiro. Kiro IDE has a memory MCP component. That it does. It works great. Anti-gravity's knowledge is broken. That's unfortunate, but yeah, Kiro is great. Like Kiro has their own issues as well. It's not the perfect coding agent. None of them are. But yeah, there's definitely some things that are working well in Kiro that aren't for other platforms. A lot of their more newer experimental features are working really well, even though they're just in beta. Why are you not doing anything with N8N anymore? Or am I mistaken? That is a really, really good question. So, yeah, it used to be the case that I did a lot with N8N on my channel. Like every other video was N8N. And I still have a deep level of respect for N8N. I still use it a lot for simpler automations I want to throw together quick, like a lot of things that I do in the Dynamous community, some automations I've created for the hackathon. But the biggest reason I cover it less is because of how powerful coding agents have become. Almost like the main benefit of N8N is how quickly you can create things, right? And no-code tools a lot of people are more comfortable with because they can build fast, they don't want to learn coding. But it's so easy to just pick up Claude Code or Kiro or Codex right now. And obviously, you need some kind of process, like the workflow I'm showing here with the piv loops and prime, plan, execute, validate. But it's easy to learn at least the foundation of that and start applying it to building things really, really quickly. And so then you can go graduate to code without having to be an experienced engineer like you had to be even like a couple of years ago to like write like really good production ready stuff. And you just don't have to be that anymore. And so the value of N8N to me has been reduced, at least the scope has been reduced to more of like the simpler automations or the ones where you're setting up a lot of credentials and like that part can still be annoying outside of N8N. Or like when you're working with OAuth and tokens and refresh tokens and things like that, that N8N does a really good job of handling. And so, yeah, I still like N8N. I still think that like a lot of people are more comfortable with like working with the UI instead of a terminal with their coding agent, but it's just becoming more and more common. People are accepting more and more that like that's just the way to build most things now is to use a coding agent. So that's why I focus on that so much on my channel. So I still cover N8N. I still cover like building agents, but like agentic engineering, like we're doing this live stream right now, I think is the most important use case for generative AI currently. But it's a really good question, though. And I still will do more N8N content, just less of it over time. The question is, though, if you can glob and grep me too. Nice. Oh, no, you mean Markdown. I thought you were making a joke. You can glob and grep me. You could. So, yes, you can glob and grep Markdown, but RAG, I think this is in reference to RAG. RAG still is just the optimal way to search anything except code, in my opinion, because of the semantic searching that you're able to do. There's just less opportunity for that to like actually be valuable in a code base, and things are more structured in a code base, which is also why it's easier to do like an AST search and things like that. So, okay, anyway, looks like our planning is done. So I'll read through that in a second here. So the reason for uncertainty. So it gave me a 7 out of 10 score for its confidence in the structure plan. Reason for uncertainty, it's the first time LiveKit integration. RPC from within function tool needs testing. Okay. LiveKit cloud account setup is external dependency. All right, so I want you to do some research to address your first two concerns. And then also, before we even get into the structure plan right now, just go ahead and update the .env.example with what we need for LiveKit, and then I'll add that into the .env so that once you actually start executing on the structured plan, you'll be able to validate things end-to-end right away. So I'm breaking the rule a little bit. I'm going to have it update the .env.example before I'm really going into execution, because I just want to make sure that once I go into execution, it has everything it needs for validation. I don't want to wait for things to be set up in LiveKit. Like I don't want it to do implementation and then come back to me to edit my .env and then go on with the validation. I just want to shoot through the entire thing, especially because I want to go fast for you guys. And so usually what I'll do is I'll have it like actually edit everything and then tell me, like I'll have a stop point, right? Like I'll say like, now I want you to go and tell me to edit the .env, then continue. But this will work as well, and it'll just be kind of faster overall. So there we go. All right, so now it's updated, looking good. And I have these values already, so I'll just have to set these off camera. I'll actually do that really quick. So copy this. It needs LiveKit, API key, API secret, and LiveKit URL, which I actually have all those because I copied them over from LiveKit earlier. So let me set those. Okay. API key, API secret, URL. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay, good. Nice. All right, so that is set. Good. And then let me read the plan now. Let me make sure the plan is good for the LiveKit agent. So we're almost there now, where we're gonna have the actual voice agent for us to test. I'm looking forward to this. All right. So this document is almost 500 lines long, pretty concise. As far as plans go, coding agents will sometimes generate like 2,000 line documents, which are ridiculous. So adding real-time voice conversation to Obsidian agent using LiveKit. Let's see, here's what we are referencing. Everything in the front end and our search, so our toolkit. So it needs to know our tools, it needs to know our front end. It doesn't have to do anything with our Pydantic AI agent right now. Well, I guess it is referencing that because it's going to learn from the system prompt. So I guess that makes sense, because we probably want to have a slightly different system prompt between our text-based and voice agents, but being able to like have something similar, I think makes sense. So back end, front end. All right, I'm just going to blitz through this. I mean, this looks good overall. Got our full task list here. I'm going to make sure that, I'm curious what it's going to do for the validation. So we have all of our environment variables set, so that's good. It's going to start the voice agent, switch to okay. Apparently it claims it can speak a query. Oh no, this is manual validation. So I think it's going to tell me to do this. Okay, that makes sense. So it's not thinking that it's going to actually speak a query and for me, because I don't know how I'd make that happen. I'm sure there's something I could do with like hooks or something. I have no idea, but I'll just do the manual validation myself. Okay, so I think this is good. All right. So the one thing I'll say is, add an end-to-end testing using the Vercel agent browser to this. I know that we can't really like have the coding agent speak into the front end, but at least making sure that we can mute, start the conversation, that we don't get any errors in the back end from LiveKit, that we can just make sure that the front end and back end is connected properly for the LiveKit agent, and then I'll go in and do the manual validation after. So that one little iteration that I want to do there, I want to do as much end-to-end testing leveraging Kiro as I can before I have to go in and start things, because I haven't had to do that yet. So I'm going to have to spend some time once the implementation is done to start both up and go in and test it, which it hasn't even generated a README yet. That's something that is blatantly missing right now. So after this implementation, I'll have it generate a README too. In fact, I should probably say that, because I want that to be a part of the plan. So, okay, that's good. So it added the end-to-end testing, very good. And I'll just add the README thing once it's done here, because I'll need the documentation myself to know how to start things. I mean, I know it's pretty simple. I could figure it out, but the documentation should be there regardless. Another thing that I haven't really been doing is filling out the devlog, which if you're participating in the Kiro Hackathon, this is a big requirement that you should be doing after every piv loop. But I just don't really want to take the time for that right now. It's always the pressure on the clock when it's a live stream, right? All right. Wow, it's taking its time with the plan. But I mean, that's fine. I need this to be accurate here. Okay. There we go. So now I'll say, also, we don't have a README right now. It's really important that we have that. So I need you to add into the structured plan here to create the README after we've done the full implementation. So create the README after the implementation before we do all of our validation. All right. So that's good. So I'll add that in, then I'll kick things off. And also, I'm kind of curious what my usage looks like. I'll probably check that later, but it's not using too many credits or even some of the bigger things. All right. Yep, create README, looking good. Yes, okay, all right. Very good, so we got our plan. So now I'll do a clear. Yes, I want to clear, and then I will do at execute, and then I'll copy the path to this plan. There we go, copy relative path, paste it, and boom. All right, we're off to the races. So now after this piv loop, we will, I mean, if things are working well, we will have the full agent implemented. Not that this is anywhere close to production ready. I still probably want a RAG pipeline. I haven't really validated how accurate all of the tools are. I'm sure the front end is going to need a lot of polishing. Like, there's a lot that I don't have here yet. But for the sake of the challenge, I think once we have this piv loop working really well, I think I'd call it good. I'd say that, like, once we get this working where I can talk with my voice, it can search through my knowledge, even if it's not the most accurate, then I will have completed the challenge that you guys have set out for me. If you guys say that's fair, I feel like that's fair. Because once we have the initial like MVP working, iterating on it and making it really refined, I mean, it's kind of interesting, but I feel like there's sort of a drop off at that point for like how engaging the live stream would actually be. And it'll probably take a bit to get this piv loop to be really solid. So I assume that it'll be about good time for the live stream then. So we're about to have the really big payoff within probably the next half hour here. So stick around for it, because now we'll get to really test our agent. Cool. And then I will share this repo. I'll have this published after. So let me actually create a .gitignore. I don't want to forget this, because in the .gitignore, well, you know what? I'll actually have it do that. I'll ask it to do that later. So, well, maybe for now I'll just make sure I have the core things covered. So I'll publish like my .Kiro folder and .agents folder and everything, so that you guys have all the context around my process too. So I just want to make sure that I have my .pytest cache, .rough cache. I don't want to have these things checked in. .volt index. Why is there an index? That's for the Whoosh library. I don't think it's like actually indexing my code base. It's something else for how it's searching with the Whoosh library. That would be a good thing to ask. You know, one other like tip that I have for you guys is, if you're really taking your time with something, like I should be more, if I wasn't doing a live stream and I was like really taking my time with this, one of the things that I would be doing is actually reading the code and asking questions to the coding agent for things I don't understand. Like I did ask one question earlier about the vault index, but it was more like what I had to set for that in the environment variables. But I am like legitimately curious, how does Whoosh work? Like, what is my search strategy really doing? And I definitely would want to be more a part of the process for planning that if I was taking my time with it as well. And so if you are an engineer and you're able to verify things yourself, like definitely do so. Like look through the code and make sure that it makes sense, that it's aligned with what you actually want to do. And then if you're not as experienced with engineering, then you still can get to those conclusions about like if the code is aligned with what you want, but more through asking the agent questions. And so after the implementation, like if Kiro was just waiting for me right now and it was done, I can say like, hey, help me understand Whoosh. Like, how does this work? How is this aligned with the search strategies that we talked about when we were first going through the setup wizard and creating our initial context, our steering documents? And so yeah, also like just using your coding agent as an educator as much as it is a coder is really important, especially if you're newer to coding, newer to using coding agents, because it can level you up really quickly. Like honestly, I'll be blunt with you guys. I think that working with coding agents and asking it questions has taught me more than I learned getting my computer science degree in college. Like, I'm just going to be honest. I have so many takeaways here. Every time it's building something for me, I'll ask it. Like, I had no idea what Whoosh was before this live stream here, but now I know. I've never used it before. And we could even like go into a separate terminal here while we wait and like ask it these questions. So actually, let me do that. So model, I'll just go to Opus here. And then for the tools, trust all. So I'm just going to run the prime command, and then after the prime command, then I can ask away, and it'll already have an understanding of my code base. So I'll come back to that in a second here. But I'll just kind of come back and see it work on the LiveKit voice agent implementation. All right. Let's see what else we got in the chat here. Quite excited about AMP recently. Yeah, AMP is definitely another big player in the AI coding space. Good one to pay attention to. Yeah. Planning on doing something with it after the Kiro series. Okay, very cool. Yeah. AMP is good. All right. Main frustration with Kiro, it skips things a lot, not very self-aware of its own internal capabilities. Yeah, I mean, Claude is definitely more aware, and like it does things more end-to-end without like coming back to you. Like what you guys saw earlier, I think Rasmus said this when I was hitting that issue where like it didn't do the end-to-end testing, and so I had to tell it to do so. And once I told it, like it did great, and it validated things very well, but it still took a little bit of coaxing to get to that point. Drop by with the like. I appreciate it. Using Claude with Blender Lovable UE5, creating a demo today. That's very cool. I'd be curious. I mean, you said you're dropping by, so I don't know if you're still here, but I'd be interested in what you're building with that. That's cool. Playwright is a huge download. Let's put it in every VNV. Yeah, that's one of the problems with Playwright. It's bloated, not just in the context it uses when your agent is invoking it, but also just having it as a dependency. Which, I mean, the Vercel browser agent does actually use Vercel under the hood. It's more of like an agentic layer on top. So you still have the dependency, unfortunately. But I mean, the main reason that's such a big dependency is because you have the Chromium browser, so it can start up a browser session. So I don't know if there's really a way to avoid that. Do I know what browser tool Anti-Gravity uses for internal testing? It might be the Chrome dev tool, maybe, but I don't know for sure. That'd just be my conjecture. But we do have like the Chrome integration directly with Anti-Gravity, which is super cool. So it like replaces the need for the Playwright MCP. I do still think though that like the Vercel browser agent would be better than even like what's built into Anti-Gravity. Haven't done direct testing there, but I would be interested in doing that. All right. Oh, and yeah, by the way, we can go here and ask a question. So we did the prime. So now you can just go into your coding agent, anything that you're curious about. Like I can just say, give me a brief synopsis of how we're using Whoosh, why Whoosh is powerful, why we picked it over other things, and how it works. There we go. Boom. Simple sentence. But giving me this overview, like that'll help me understand so much more how things are working under the hood. So we're building a full text search index of all markdown files, indexing paths, titles, content, modifying date. So I guess we're indexing, but we're not using like an embedding model for RAG, right? There's no vector database here. We're just creating like a high level file for Whoosh to like know what folders to look in and things like that. So that's cool. I didn't like realize that. So pure Python, full text search with BM25 ranking. So same algorithm as Elasticsearch, if you guys know that. So that's cool. So it's a lot more than just keyword search that we're doing here. Built-in query parsing support and or not phrases, wildcards, fuzzy matching. That's really important. So we can have typos or like typos either in our query or in the knowledge base itself. So more setup if we did SQLite makes sense. Elasticsearch is definitely overkill for this. Type sense, external service, network overhead. We just want something local and fast and free. And simple regex, if we had like the most basic search possible, there's no ranking, no relevance scoring, slower on large vaults. So Whoosh hits the sweet spot. Zero infrastructure, sub-second queries, proper relevance ranking. Perfect for a local only app searching 1,000+ documents. So very good. We can ask more follow-up questions if we want, but that's a rundown. And this is one of the really important things to understand for the implementation, because this drives everything. If there's any kind of failure in our search, we're not getting the documents that we expect to get, it's going to be because of how we're using Whoosh. And so we'd want to optimize our index, maybe try a different tool. I don't know exactly. Maybe more prompting around like how we take advantage of the features so the agent can specify those things in its tool calls. There's a lot of room for improvement that I don't think I'll show in the live stream here, but any kind of issues we run into, we would just think about like how do we leverage Whoosh differently, because that's probably going to be what would come up here in my manual testing is the searching just isn't the best. And so there's a lot of options that we have for that. All right. What else we got in the chat? If there's one thing this channel has taught, it's that we need to keep stretching ourselves. That's right, lifelong learner. You want to be a lifelong learner because that leads to in my opinion, a very fruitful and fulfilling life. Yeah. Building my own stuff in Supabase rather than relying on consumer platforms. Very cool. I love that. Obsidian Sync is not free. It is just like $5 a month though. Really, really cheap. And you can also use, yeah, someone mentioned using Google Drive. Definitely can just use Google Drive. All right. So, all right, I'm going to keep going through questions while we wait for it here. Good time for some Q&A. Saw a YouTube video showing full speech-to-text and text-to-speech with LiveKit AI Jarvis Assistant. That's pretty cool. I'd be interested in checking that out. But yeah, LiveKit is easy for both speech-to-text and text-to-speech. It's great for that. Yeah. Building my own agent, my own Agent Zero instance. Super powerful. You should do a video about it. I appreciate this suggestion a lot. So I've heard really good things about Agent Zero, and I've always been meaning to try it, but I haven't gotten around to doing it. But I know a lot of people in Dynamous, in the Dynamous community, that are definitely into that and playing around with Agent Zero. So yeah, I think that'd be cool to look into. Cool to hear that you're having a good experience with it. Dope. Yeah, and then one thing I want to call out really quick, just really quick here. I haven't talked about the hackathon enough because that's the whole point of this live stream is in celebration of the hackathon. That's why I'm using Kiro. If you're interested in competing for glory and the $17,000 prize pool, you just build anything as long as you're using Kiro like I'm doing in the live stream here, then definitely come check out the hackathon. I'll put a link to this in the chat again here. There we go. It's totally free to participate. Massive prize pool, and the biggest thing is just learning as you build. And so I am planning on extending the deadline. I'm going to say this again because some people weren't there at the start of the stream. I am going to extend the deadline to January 30th instead of the 23rd. So you will have another week. I'm going to make an announcement in the community for that later today. Super important for you guys to know that you have another week to make your submission. So I'll have to like update the site, update the live stream and everything, but I'll take care of that today. I want to give you guys more time, especially because of the issues with claiming credits earlier. And if you know, you know, there's a little bit of a hassle there because some of the credits were like exhausted and things like that. So yeah, one more week for the hackathon. So if you haven't even participated yet, there's still a lot of time to get involved and build something awesome with your chance to win a part of the prize pool here. You can build literally anything that you want as long as you're using Kiro, either the CLI or IDE. So I put the link in the chat just now. I'd love to have you guys be a part of that. We already have hundreds and hundreds of people, like over 1,000 people registered right now, which is super cool. So it's going to be a good time. There's going to be a lot for me to judge, a lot of submissions for me to judge, but I am ready for it. And we are going to have some AWS guest judges as well. So it's going to be me. Rasmus is going to help judge some as well. And then, yeah, some people from AWS. So it's pretty legit. It's sweet. So I'm looking forward to it. All right. Let me go back to the chat here. I want to submit my project today. I heard the devlog should be updated every piv loop, but I updated mine once per day at the end. Will this affect submission? So I would say that you probably didn't do it enough, but that doesn't mean that your devlog isn't good enough. It just probably was harder for you to update your devlog than it had to be. But I wouldn't worry about it. Like I'd say that like as long as you're focusing on it at some kind of increment, whether it be every piv loop or at the end of each day, then you're totally good to go. So I would say your devlog is probably good. So yeah, don't stress about it too much. There's a lot of flexibility for how you build your project, how you create your README and your devlog and what your commands look like. I want this to be very freeform, as long as it's a very descriptive devlog and that I'm able to like clearly see what your process looks like. And yeah, if it's not comprehensive, right, you can definitely use your git commit messages to construct your missing devlog. So you can go back in time and see like what you built to improve the devlog if you need. Though, I mean, depending on how much you did each day, updating once a day is probably good, like I said. So I won't worry about it. Okay, so anyway, we have our implementation now. Okay, so it did it again. It did not do the end-to-end testing. This time it gave me the excuse why. It did not do it because the services are not running, which I guess I probably should have updated my structure plan to say, as a part of the end-to-end testing, you should also start the back end and front end. And so that's kind of on me. Claude Code usually would know that it has to like start the services and it just do that autonomously. You could argue that's an assumption that maybe it's better Kiro doesn't make. I don't know. I kind of wanted to do that though, so I'll just say, well, actually, I want you to start the services and do the end-to-end testing. So make sure that everything is working perfectly with the validation we have for end-to-end in the structured plan. So we'll have it spin everything up here. And then actually, in the meantime, while it does this, we could go to the README and make sure that everything is looking good so we can set it up ourselves. So let me open this here. Actually, one thing I noticed, which is kind of annoying, I don't know why it created a LiveKit example file. That kind of seems like bloat to my code base here. Interesting. LiveKit patterns. How do I determine the model that it uses? That's an interesting question. Why? Okay, I think it kind of spanned my repo with a couple of folders I don't care about, or files that I don't care about. I don't really know what's up with this. Like, did it output this as a part of its research or something? I don't really know. LiveKit patterns. This seems like junk I need to remove. So that's a little weird. I definitely don't want it to be like creating all this junk. Like if there's any planning that it needs to do, it should just be adding that to the structure plan. I don't want these extra files. So that's probably another thing that I'll ask about, but that's a minor detail, so I don't need to worry about that right now. But yeah, we can see it's using the Vercel agent browser to validate things again. This is looking really good. All right, which remember, it can't do like full validation, actually speak to the agent, but once this is done, then we can run things ourselves. So let me go back to the README and take a look. Okay, so installation, configuration, we already did this obviously, and then here's how we run both things. So I can open up a couple of terminals to do that. Let me actually spin that up right now. So I got my PowerShell open here, so I'll copy the path to the backend, and I will change to that. And then I'll copy the path to the front end, copy path, change to that. Okay, good. So got both of these. So in the back end, I will do UV sync just to make sure. Let me activate the virtual environment. Scripts activate. Oh, you know what? It's doing that because this virtual environment is created in Python, or in Linux, since I have to use WSL, Ubuntu Linux, for Kiro. So that's why I'm getting this issue here. So I'm going to actually create a new virtual environment, and I'll just call it Windows VNV. And then for this one, I guess I don't want to run this yet because I'm gonna like disturb its current testing if I try to do this. So let me go into Windows VNV, scripts activate, and then I'll do a UV sync. Active. There we go. So let me install the packages there. So I'm just getting things prepped for when it's my time. It'll be my turn to test things soon, finally. So I'm just getting ready for that. And then here I'll just have to run pnpm install. So I'll just wait. I'll wait until it's done with its validation, then I'll do that. So okay, I'll move that aside for a second here. Go back in. Okay, so it did all of its browser testing. Now it's doing API testing, I guess. Okay, so I mean that's good. It's being very, very complete with its testing. So I appreciate that. Claude Code has kind of spoiled me too. Yeah, I mean it has for everyone. Yeah, it still is the best, honestly. I will say though, I think it's not the best by as much anymore. Like the gap continues to close more and more. Like back in like May, June, like nothing was even close. Like it was pathetic. So we're getting there. Vercel is also not free, correct? So the agent browser is free. It is an open source tool, Apache 2.0 license. You just run it locally. It's entirely free. So Vercel as a deployment platform, aside from their free tier, like obviously you have to pay to host on their platform with larger applications, but what I'm using here is just running locally. It's free. All right, so let me go back up in the chat a little bit here. Let's see. Join the Dynamous community. You'll know why NAN is no longer hot. That's right. I mean, I would say it's still hot, but it's not like as important of a tool as it was maybe a year ago. So it's important, not as important. Like I don't want to like just diss on N8N because I mean it's just made so much of a difference for me over time. Just less now. I use LM Studio because of human in the loop. I stop and unstuck or steer an agent. Full automation would be a nightmare letting it drive itself. Yeah, human in the loop is very important to build into your agentic workflows for sure. I mean, I'm doing that as a part of this, like human in the loop after planning, after implementation for validation, like we're about to step into once it's done here. It's going for a long time. I don't know, like... I guess it hasn't made any code changes for a while, so I think it's just like doing a really good job testing everything, and things must be working really well if it's not deciding to adjust any code here. So obviously I'll look for the summary at the end and ask it for one if there isn't one, but it's looking really good. Okay, so we got our temporary live kit token, whatever. What is happening here? So, okay, now it's encountering a problem, I'm pretty sure. So I'll just kind of let it keep going. And I'll answer some more questions while it does that. All right, what else we got here? Just trying to find the next question to show. Oh, here we go. This hackathon extension is good. Could we repeat yesterday's one to understand what it is all about? Could you clarify what you mean by yesterday's one? I'll come back to you if you reply again to that. Still waiting for the claiming of credits to resume for the hackathon. I know. I was hoping we'd have more codes yesterday, but I didn't get them in time. So the person that I'm working with from the Kiro team, they aren't the ones that like have the permission to make the codes. I mean, you know how it works with larger companies. Like there's kind of a chain for that, especially for something like free access to the platform and to any extent. So they're still waiting as well. So they're usually more responsive, but then sometimes we have to wait for the larger team. So yeah, I mean, it's not up to me, unfortunately. So, but hopefully on Monday we'll have the more codes so that those of you who are joining can get started or fully dive into it. So when you sign up for Kiro right now, you get 500 credits for free when you sign up with any account. So you definitely have enough to like go quite a ways. So if you're just joining the hackathon, you certainly have enough to like get you through the weekend, and then hopefully the 2,000 free credits for Kiro that you get when you sign up for the hackathon and fill out the form, hopefully those new codes will be available because all the other ones were used up. So we're just waiting for more, but there will be more hopefully soon here. Sip empty, break, refill, resume. Yes, it is empty. Maybe you can hear it. So I probably will take a break to fill my water in a second here. Will the project judging be live streamed? So not the actual judging, because that's going to take a lot of work to like, because I want to, you know, respect all your guys' submissions. Like I'm not going to just like throw a coding agent on and be like, oh, validate this project and give it a score from 0 to 100. I'll use a coding agent to help me analyze code bases, but I need to like try them myself, search through them myself, and read the devlog myself. And so it'll be too much to live stream. But there will be a live stream that I believe will be on February 14th, Saturday, February 14th, where I'll announce the winners and I'll showcase the winners. So stay tuned for that. So I'll at least have that. So there's something for the end of the live stream, but it wouldn't be like judging everything. That would be fun to do, but I don't think that would work very well. It's a good question, though. Okay, so anyway, the end-to-end testing is done. There we go. So it seems like everything is working. All validation commands passed. All UI state transitions work, no JS errors. It says the LiveKit voice agent is working end to end. So now it's our turn to test it. Port 8000 was occupied. I think ports are occupied because you haven't killed the front end and back ends that you've run in the past. So I need you to check for that and maybe end those processes if they're being taken by when you started the back end or the front end in the past. So, I mean, I've run into this with Claude a lot as well, where it just won't kill the processes that it started at some point for running the things for testing. Like you can see this one right here. The back end is taken still. Same with this one. There's a couple where it's still running. And so I need to kill those so that I can run it myself and I don't have to deal with the weird port conflicts and stuff. So coding agents like to do that a lot. Honestly, it's probably something, so one of the things that I teach in the agentic coding course in Dynamous is I talk about system evolution. Let me actually pull it up quick. I need to pull this up. So open link, new tab. Go to the homepage of Dynamous. So if you guys didn't know this is like the biggest golden nugget in the entire live stream for you. The most important part of working with AI coding assistants is what I call system evolution. Every time you run into an issue with your coding agent, like in my case here, it didn't kill the applications that it was supposed to, and so there's just a lot of cleanup that was missed. That's a bug in the system. It is not enough to just fix the issue and move on. And so I'm not really going to do that here for the sake of time, but what I did right now is the lazy thing. I just quickly asked it to do the cleanup manually. But then the next time it does a full implementation, it's going to have the same problem, and that's just going to repeat itself over and over and over again. And so when you encounter these issues where the coding agent is making the same mistake repeatedly, it is an opportunity for you to fix the system so that it doesn't happen again. So one of the most important things that I cover in the agentic coding course in Dynamous is what it looks like to do this system evolution. When we encounter a bug, we don't just fix the bug, but we fix the issue that in our system that allowed that bug to happen. And so that's what I talk about right here. Every mistake is an opportunity to evolve your system. And in the course, I cover what that actually looks like. What are the things that we can update? Our rules, our commands, our on-demand context is another thing that I cover a lot in the course that I'm just hitting on like very lightly here. Because obviously in a live stream, I can't hit on all these like really, really important things that I cover in the course. And so if that sounds good to you, if you want to learn what it takes to build reliable and repeatable systems for AI coding assistants, then definitely check out the Dynamous Agentic Coding course. A lot of the workflows and methodologies that I cover in this stream that I can barely scratch the surface on because of just this constraint of time and wanting to build something live. I cover all of that in the Agentic Coding course. So I put the link in the chat just now if you want to check it out. But yeah, there is an insane amount of effort that I put into this course with the help of Rasmus as well. The course was just finished like at the end of November, so brand new, and I'm committed to like continuing to evolve it over time as well, just making it like the best resource on the internet for learning how to work effectively with AI coding assistants. So, all right, let me go back to the chat here. Self-correcting loop is Cole's AGI. Good that Matthew Berman has not seen it yet. I mean, I don't mind if he sees it yet. I want the world to know that this is the most important thing when working with coding agents, is being able to correct these issues. Like I'll literally show you guys an example of this right now before we do the manual testing. We got time for the live stream still. Like it's literally as simple. I mean, it's not as simple as this. I'll give you a simple version of it. Okay, so we need to update something in our steering documents so that this doesn't happen again. We need something around the cleanup. So either in our steering documents or in our plan feature command, we need something that like says that we need to clean up the ports after we do our end-to-end testing. So help me think about what that could be. So I'm very much just spitballing here, but this is generally what you do. When you encounter an issue and you want to address it in the system, you work with the coding agent to think about what you would fix. Is it something in our steering documents? It gives us an option for that. Is it something in our execute prompt? Like make sure after end-to-end testing, stop all services started during testing. And yeah, its recommendation I think is actually good here. So I'm going to say, yeah, your recommendation is good. Go ahead and update the execute command. Like that simple. And usually system evolution is not this easy. Luckily, it's quite a simple issue that we ran into, so it's great for a quick demonstration. But like definitely this is at least a simple version of what it looks like for system evolution. And what I'm doing here might seem really basic, but like this is probably the most important part of the entire workflow that I went through with you. So good that we're doing that just for a quick demo. But now I want to actually start things. So we've got our front end and back end up in our terminal here. Well, let me do the installation. So pm install. I'll proceed. That's weird. Okay, I'm going to clear the node module. So unfortunately, I have to delete it entirely because it's installed to work on. Well, you know what? I could just start the front end in WSL. Let me actually do that. So front end, pm install. There we go. Okay, this will work. And then the back end is fine. I can start that in my terminal here, so whatever. I'll go ahead and start that now. So UV run. There we go. Oh, it looks like I have to start the voice agent in another terminal as well. Oh wow. Okay, let's do that. You know what? Screw that. I'm just gonna run everything in WSL. That's fine. So I'm gonna close out of this terminal, and I'll start 2 more. So we need 3 terminals in total because 1 is for the front end. That's what I have here. 1 is for the back end, like the agent, the tools, and then 1 is for the voice agent, I guess. So CD backend, and then if I do a UV sync, this should look a lot better. Okay. So go back to the README. I'll collapse this for a sec. And so for the front end, well, I'll start the back end first. So go here. Good. And then this one. And if there's any issues here, I'll just iterate with the coding agent. We'll see. I don't know if this is going to work first try. That'd be super cool. I don't necessarily expect it though, but we'll see. So pm run dev. All right. Kind of looks like it's hanging. Oh no, it's not. We're good. All right. There we go. So, okay, we did get an issue here. So I'm going to go back to the terminal here. And I'll just paste in the issue. So maybe there's something that needs to be updated in the README. Maybe there is an issue with the agent. Okay, so it is going to fix something. All right, so that's good. But the back end is running, and the front end is looking good as well. So I'll just start up the agent once it fixes the issue. And then hopefully we'll have a good test. So fingers crossed here. Okay, so now it says it's good. Is that command match what it told me match with the README? Yes, it does. Okay, so I'll go back here and I'll try running it again. Fingers crossed. I got my .env set up, and I don't think there are any changes I need to it. Wait, hold on. Is there actually a .env I need for my front end? Oh, there is. Okay. Oh, no, it set that already. Okay, we're good. Let me just create a .env.example. New file. .env.example, and then we have our Vite live kit URL. Your ID. Okay, so I'm just making sure that this is good for when I share it with you guys. But anyway, I'll go back here. Okay, I think we're good. So we got some errors. This is kind of weird, but it says that it's working. So I'm just gonna run past this. I could always ask it about that as well, but for the sake of time, I'm just going to try testing with those warnings there. So I said error, but I meant warning. Like this isn't crashing our application. So okay, let me go back to the README because once we have these things running, all right, let's try it. This is the moment of truth, the moment we've been waiting for. So let me close out of this here, and yeah, I'll just go here. So localhost 5173. Obsidian voice agent. Where are you? Why is it taking? Oh, there we go. Okay, so we got text mode and we have voice mode. Okay, that's cool. I mean, the UI is like super basic, but we didn't expect it to be insane. Search my Excalidraw. Wow, my hands are so cold. I'm in a really cold house right now. Search my Excalidraw diagrams for the Vercel agent browser one. I'm going to send in a basic request. Let's see how this goes. There we go. All right, agentbrowser.md. By the way, that is this diagram right here. Excalidraw agent browser. So it found it exactly. So, okay, text mode is working phenomenally. There's no token streaming. It's very basic, like I was saying earlier, but for the sake of just like a super fast proof of concept live demo, good, good. Okay, but now over to the voice mode. This is what I'm kind of nervous about, because this is a little bit harder of an implementation, but let me try connecting. Okay, it's going to use my microphone. Allow while visiting this site. Hello. It still says it's connecting. I don't know if it's working. I can mute and unmute. Hello, can you hear me? Oh, it's listening now. Yeah, hey, how's it going? Thinking? Okay. Oh.
Hi there. I'm here and ready to help.
Ooh.
What can I look up or do for you today?
Okay, it worked. It worked. The problem is though, hang on, I'll disconnect for a sec. I don't have my desktop audio in OBS, so you guys probably didn't hear that. Let me change that. So desktop audio is on. Let me actually try playing a YouTube video. I'll see if you guys can hear. However, the one thing that is standing out
Okay, can you guys hear
most
that?
is that
I think it's
voice
good now.
agent is definitely coming to the top.
Okay, I think you guys can hear my audio now. Okay, let's try that again. So I'm going to connect. So I have to wait for this. I guess it's kind of slow. I don't really know why that's the case. Okay, now it's listening. So, hey, I want you to search my knowledge base for my Vercel agent browser Excalidraw diagram. Okay, and then I'm going to mute. So it's thinking there's a bit of a delay. That's probably unacceptable for a voice agent.
I couldn't find any documents specifically mentioning Vercel Asian browser Scaladraw diagram in your knowledge base. If you have more details, like a specific
Go ahead
part
and
of the
search
title
for, let's do
or
something
another
else. Search
keyword,
for a live kit YouTube script. So search just for live kit here. Okay, so maybe something isn't working. I'm unsure. Oh, no, look at that.
here are some documents related to LiveKit in your knowledge base. Build a voice agent with LiveKit. This appears to be a detailed note or guide on creating a voice agent using LiveKit. 2025, 12/17,
Okay, I need to
Dynamous
shut it
office
up.
hours.
I'm gonna disconnect. Okay, anyway, that was a little jank. It was kind of slow. The user interface wasn't good, but it was working though. Like I think it didn't find the Vercel agent browser one because it misunderstood my pronunciation of Excalidraw. So that's always kind of an issue with voice agents. Is a lot of times for like common words for your use case, you have to like build it into the system prompt so it knows how to spell them or like what you're actually saying. But when I had it search for LiveKit, it found the documents. It showed them from the tool call, like live in the UI there. And it like started going, like telling me about them. I wish that it was a lot faster. But one of the things that I didn't do with the agent at all is I didn't work with the voice pipeline. And so it probably just isn't optimized at all. So I could even ask it here, like, what is the voice pipeline that you have set up? Right now, it's honestly just too slow for a realistic voice agent. Because like one of the things that I saw, if you looked at the LiveKit patterns here, it wants to use GPT-4 for the model, which is a terrible option. It's going to be really slow. And then like for DeepGram, I mean, that one's usually pretty fine. Text to speech though, I think OpenAI is usually kind of slow. I don't know. So there's probably some better options here. So, okay. Fastest option is just to use the OpenAI real-time API. That would be, yeah, I'm kind of, yeah, okay. Yeah, for the sake of simplicity, let's just use the OpenAI real-time API. I want to use the model that is the fastest here.
So let's do a little bit of a change. So a little bit of adjusting live. We'll see if we can make it faster. But like overall, this is working, which is really cool. Like I would say that given I just expected this to be a proof of concept, I completed the challenge that you guys laid out for me. But yeah, certainly room for improvement, which one of you, by the way, could take it as a challenge. Once I publish this code base, you could try to make the improvements that I've talked about, like a better UI, making it faster, being able to configure the LLMs better. I mean, like a lot of things we could do, but like, I mean, this is pretty cool. Okay, so using GPT-4o Mini real time. Okay, so let's see, front end. I think I don't know if the agent is on a hot reload, so I'm gonna shut down the agent and start that again. Usually with UV things are on a hot reload. Yeah, I'm just gonna play it safe and restart. Okay, so I'll let that start up. Okay, this is really cool though. Like it is working. All right, let's give it a sec here. GPU discovery issue may be the reason for slowness. Definitely could be. Yeah. Try the new real time. Pretty cool, but not cheap. Well, I just wanted the fastest one. I think 4.0 is probably the fastest. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. We can play around with it if we want. But anyway, both of these are running now. Okay. Well, the errors are gone now because I switched providers, so that's good. So you definitely could have been right that was the reason for the slowness. Now that I've switched to real time, it might be quicker. So let's try it. All right, so voice, let's connect. All right, round 2. Just gotta wait. I don't know why the connecting takes a while. That's kind of weird too, but that's different from the actual model speed. So I'll just give it a sec. It might just because I started it up for the first time. It might be like compiling something. I have no idea why. Okay, there we go. All right, I want you to search my knowledge base for anything related to LiveKit. Okay.
I found Here are some documents related to LiveKit in your knowledge base.
Okay.
1.
That was a lot faster. That was really good.
If you have any more questions or need further information, feel free to ask.
GPT Real-Time Mini is the best fast one. Okay, let's try that. We'll iterate one more time. So I'm going to stop these and then go back into Kiro and I'll say, actually, I think that GPT-Realtime-Mini is the fastest model. So let's go ahead and switch to that and I'll test that out. Okay. Oh, wait. It literally, I did not say that. I said, no, GPT Real-Time Mini. I don't know why. So Aqua Voice can read your screen, so it saw this and probably thought I meant that. But anyway, I'll correct it now. So, all right, we'll try this out. This should definitely be an environment variable as well. So yet another thing that could be better with this implementation, that it's not just hard-coded. It's going to be the same with the model and the Pydantic AI agent. But again, we're just moving quick here. So let's start these things back up again. We'll test it out with real time. But man, this is exciting. We did it, and it took actually less time than I planned. I planned on this live stream going till about noon, which, I mean, I'll answer some of your guys' questions, so like, you know, maybe it will anyway. But still, we were successful. So this is super cool. Okay, so agent backend's running. Agent is still starting up here. I'll wait for that, and then I'll open up the browser again. Yeah, I mean, there's still a warning. I don't know. There's probably something to address still. But, like, we've barely iterated on this, and it's already, like, pretty good as a starting point. Like, I'm loving it. All right, so let's refresh. Voice, connect. Well, okay, let me think. I'll have it search for something else here. Yeah, okay, connect. All right. So, connecting. What else could it search for? Oh, yeah, okay, I got an idea for once it's ready here. First time's always the slowest. Come on, there we go. Okay, I want you to search my knowledge base for anything related to MCP, focusing especially on any Excalibur diagrams. Excalibur diagrams, where I talk about MCP. I think I don't think this model's working. Model name not correct. Oh, it ignored. Oh, I'm sorry. I moved on without reading your guys' message in the chat. What happened? Oh, yeah. Okay. So open. What did it do? GPT. Oh, you're right. Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to. No. It should be. I could just go edit it myself, but just for the principle here, I want to have it. I don't want to have to ever touch the code for this live stream. So please do the right. I don't know why it ignored me completely. That's really weird. So okay, well we're gonna have to wait again. So I'm gonna restart these things. I don't know for sure that I have hot reload or not. So I'll get these ready to go again. All right. Okay, so now it did the right one. So that's good. Right, guys. That's actually finally right. I think that's good. How is Kiro treating you? I mean, this live stream, it's been doing a really good job. There's a couple of little blips where it didn't do the end-to-end testing when I wanted it to, and like this example right here. But overall, like it built the application very, very well. I would say that the things that I expected it to not do a good job on, especially the user interface, I don't think Claude Code would have done better either, because I just never focused on that. Generally, when I'm building this kind of application, I would need an entire piv loop just to make the UI look good. And if I wanted this live stream to go longer, which I don't want it to go too much longer, I probably would like do that, like just a piv loop to make it look really nice. But anyway, let's go back here and test it again. So browser, refresh, voice mode, connect. All right. I'll have to pronounce Excalibur fully so it actually understands what I'm talking about. Because that was the problem with the search earlier. Or maybe I just need to pronounce it better. Excalibur. Let's try it in a sec. Okay, there we go. All right, I want you to search my knowledge base for MCP, especially any Excalibur diagrams I have for MCP.
I found a couple of relevant items. One is a document related to MCP server tools that mentions diagrams and drawings, though it doesn't specify Excalibur directly. The other document seems to be part of an agentic coding course introduction, mentioning Excalibur data and references to MCP servers in the context of Module 10. Would you like a deeper look at either of these documents?
That's aight, but there's definitely some more documents in my knowledge base that it didn't find there, which is a little concerning. So like I said, probably huge opportunities to improve the system prompting and the implementation of Whoosh in the knowledge base. So let me try the live kit one again, because also this might be an issue with GPT real time as a model. Okay, this time I want you to search for live kit, anything in my knowledge base around live kit. And it does feel like
here are some documents related to live kit. One is titled Build a Voice Agent with LiveKit, which talks about building voice agents using LiveKit and includes a reference to their Git.
All right, so overall it seems like the search could be improved as well. I mean, pretty much everything could be improved. The UI, the search strategy, system prompting, but like fantastic start. Like this is so cool. We did it. We built our Obsidian voice agent. And honestly, maybe I could take this further. Like I could do another live stream where I continue to build this out. Like maybe for the live stream where after I announce the winners, maybe I keep building this out as well, improve the UI, make sure my voice pipeline's actually set up right, parameterize more things in the .env. What else is there? Yeah, better search strategy, like maybe building a full RAG pipeline for Obsidian as well. I think that would be part of the fix to the problem here where it wasn't able to find, I have definitely some other things in my knowledge base around MCP. And it found some other really weird file too. So yeah, there's a lot more I could do. And I might do that. That'd be fun. So yeah, it's awesome, just super expensive. Yeah, that'd be another thing to optimize for this pipeline is not relying on GPT real time because it's expensive. So finding a better deepgram model for text to speech, or I mean speech to text, something else for text to speech as well. So, or speech to text, I mean, I'm flipping them. Deepgram for speech to text, yes, and then something else for text to speech. There we go. I said it right, finally. All right. Cool. All right, we did it. I could publish this now. Actually, let me do that. Let me go here,
And I'll close out of these things for now, so I'm not hogging the reports and resources on my computer. I'll say, this is fantastic. Go ahead and initialize a Git repository here. Read the .git ignore, make sure that is all looking good as well. I can't publish anything like my .envs in my virtual environments, and so make sure that we add, I'll add the Windows VNV as well. I actually don't even really need this, but yeah, go ahead and after you validate the .git ignore and create the repo, go ahead and push it. You can use the GitHub CLI to push it as a public repository. All right. That was messy, but there we go. It's the end of the stream. That's always when it gets the messiest, right? But all right, I'll go ahead and push the repo so that you guys don't even have to wait for me to do it after the stream. I'll just go and do it right now so you guys can try it out and improve it if you want to, because there are going to be a ton of room for improvement. All right. GG Cole goated. I appreciate it. Yeah, we did it. I did it. We solved the challenge. I could make it as an Obsidian add-on. I mean, I could. I don't know. It's kind of more of a standalone application. I don't know how I'd like incorporate it as a plugin, but I'm sure it could be done. Oh wow. There's a lot of files here. That's fine. Well, yeah, because a lot of this is the Kiro documentation that I have in the Quickstart. I guess it's not a big deal. Yeah, okay. I think that's good. It didn't really do anything with the devlog, so yeah, I mean, this isn't like the perfect thing, but I'll just push like exactly what I have for the repo. So there we go. All right, it's published it. So let me go here. Boom, boom. Obsidian voice agent. There we go. All right. I'll put this in the chat for you guys as well. Awesome. Just got here what was built. I built a voice agent that allows you to chat with your Obsidian knowledge base, and it worked really well. Like, this is dope. We did it. Awesome. Yeah, I'm just checking around, make sure everything looks good. I mean, this stuff, I didn't clean up. I didn't do the devlog. It's not perfect, but it's a good starting point. Maybe I could even do that right now. Like, I'll delete this, delete this. All right, based on everything that we did here, I need you to update the devlog.md. Make sure the README looks good as well, and then just make that push. You can commit and push after you update the devlog and potentially the README as well. Push that to the repo too. All right, I'll do a little bit of cleanup right now. I guess that's important. I think everything else is good though. Front end, well no, there's that one thing in the front end with the live kit setup, so I'll delete that too. There we go. All right, clean up. I thought Obsidian plugins are JavaScript. Oh yeah, true. I guess like it'd have to be something quite different anyway. I'm building a whole like front end and stuff. I didn't really design this to be an Obsidian plugin at all. It's just a separate application to run. Third-party Obsidian plugins are inherently dangerous. It is true. Yep, very true. All right, and yeah, by the way, I have the link up here. So I put the link to the voice agent if you want to check it out. I'm making one more commit here. This is amazing. I appreciate it. Yeah, we did it. We did it. I came late to the stream. How is it actually looking up the docs? I assume you're doing some type of RAG here, using a vector database. That would help a lot as it would get metadata. Yeah, so for the sake of simplicity, no vector database here, no RAG. I think that would be a good optimization, something to build on top of this, but I just did basic search. Well, not too basic. I'm using a library called Whoosh in Python, so it does like fuzzy matching and more intelligent searching. It creates a little bit of an index itself, but it's not like any kind of embedding or vector database, like would probably be optimal for this. So I just wanted something more basic. So yeah, you can look into Whoosh Python library if you want to know what I'm doing there. And yeah, I did a very lazy update to the devlog, by the way, but I just wanted something quick. So let me refresh here. Another commit now. Devlog, let's see. There's probably a lot of room for improvement even for the devlog too. But no, this looks good. Phase 4, Phase 5. We're using GPT Real-Time Mini, which you probably want to change that too. But it was really fast at the end. Like, we solved the speed problem. Just giving one example of iterating live. A lot of other things I could do in another stream here. But this is sweet. All right, guys. We are almost at the top of the hour here. think this marks a good stopping point for the stream. So let me switch back to the full frame. There we go. All right. Well, thank you everyone for being here. All of your fantastic ideas at the start, which led to what I was building with the Obsidian voice agent. All your great questions along the way, and even helped me with a little bit of troubleshooting there, like when it was using the wrong model. So yeah, I had a blast with this. I hope that you guys learned a lot as well. Just seeing how, just really from a raw point of view, I take an idea that I hadn't even really thought about before the live stream, obviously, and I just run with it using my generic workflow for agentic coding, which, by the way, I talk about in the agentic coding course, how you can take the workflow and really optimize it for your code base specifically. But I took my generic workflow, applied it to an idea, built it from start to a good finish, a good starting point, just a couple of hours with you guys. So I had a blast with this. I hope you guys did too. Thank you everyone for being here. And remember to come be a part of the Dynamous Kiro Hackathon. The submission was extended to, the submission deadline extended to January 30th. So looking forward to seeing your guys' submissions for that as well. And stay tuned for the YouTube video coming out tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central Time on the Vercel agent browser. So thank you everyone for being here. Hope that you have a fantastic rest of your weekend. And